All right, welcome back to What She Said Sports, everybody. It's Nola Girl checking in. All right, so y'all already know. Y'all already know the wicked witch of the West, the East, the West, the North. Cleveland is gone. Kevin Stefanski has officially been fired, and it should have happened a long time ago, but we're going to talk about it. I listened to Haslam's press conference. I listened to Shedor's. I listened to Andrew Berry's press conference, and I have some thoughts, right? But first and foremost, congratulations to the Cleveland Browns players because their overseer has been terminated. Because that's exactly what it was, right? It would be remiss to stand up here and say that Kevin Stefanski wasn't acting like an overseer, right? And if you were a black quarterback, whether it was Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Jameis Winston, PJ Walker, or Dorian Thompson Robinson, you felt like you were in jail. You felt like you were in prison. And that's just really what it was. And I don't care how jolly that you are or who the anomaly was amongst those quarterbacks aforementioned. Overall, Kevin Stefanski made black quarterbacks feel like they were not wanted, they were not valued, that instead they were in some kind of holding tank, some kind of holding cell where their career was to move forward to end. That's just what it was. That's exactly what it was. So shout out to the fans, and not shout out to Haslam, not shout out to Andrew Berry. Absolutely not. The credit doesn't go to either one of them. The credit goes to you, and you, the fans that applied pressure for Stefanski to be fired. That's who the applause goes to. So let's just hop in here real fast. All right, so I got word on social media because I asked y'all to blow me up, and y'all did. That Stefanski was fired, and now they did this last night because I had a question. Right, I was like, how on earth does Raheem Morris and his general manager, how is it that they get fired after winning a game immediately, which was to embarrass them? And I heard tears were shed at the Atlanta facility this morning. But Stefanski gets shielded from the embarrassment. Stefanski gets the message that says they agreed to part ways, and the Browns have parted ways. He was fired. They packaged it up really nicely. Well, guess what? Stefanski was the last person to deserve any kind of covering, any kind of shielding. And why is this? The fans that applied pressure for Stefanski to be fired didn't do so just because. They did so because they watched Stefanski dehumanize Shedeur Sanders. They watched Stefanski dehumanize Shedeur Sanders all summer, spring, summer, winter, fall, and into the winter where we are, including the last game. Including the last game. And this goes into why it is that Haslam need to be forced to sell this team. I listened to Haslam's press conference. If you haven't, go listen to it. He wasn't happy about moving on from Stefanski. And he packaged it as we have to win more than 7 or 8 games in 2 years. But see, you knew early on in the season when you had only won 2 games. Just like the Titans knew about Callahan. You should have fired Stefanski. Just like Daboll was fired mid-season. By the time Daboll was fired, the Browns knew they needed to terminate Stefanski. And they wanted to have conversations about bringing him back. They wanted to badger players into giving favorable reviews about Stefanski after fans watched Stefanski dehumanize a black quarterback named Shedeur Sanders all goddamn year, starting in the spring. The draft was in April. We're already back to January. And I don't give a damn if Stefanski didn't want Shedeur or Deshaun. This ain't his goddamn team. And he don't get to choose. If he don't want and value black quarterbacks, then let him go start his own team. And there is no excuse for Haslam allowing this organization to be so dysfunctional and corrupt. And Haslam got in his feelings in his press conference and thought that with a little boom and bass in his, he could make his case because he was offended that his team has been called, his organization has been called dysfunctional. He ought to be embarrassed for allowing Stefanski to run that damn organization like it's a plantation, to allow race norming to happen. I don't give a damn what Stefanski thinks about 50 million black people. But you do not go to your goddamn job and take your personal agenda with you and dehumanize the young man in front of everybody like you had him tied up to a goddamn tree and you wanted him to say his goddamn name was Toby. Shame on Hasler for that. And shame on Hasler for that disgraceful press conference where he showed that he was not happy with moving on, but it had to be done. And he wanted to make it seem like it was about losing games when they've been losing all goddamn year with Shedeur, with Dylan, with Deshaun. It wasn't about the damn games. And he wants to justify that he has a good product. You have good players that you allow your head coach to devalue. That's what you did. Haslam is guilty of allowing Stefanski to turn that workplace into a toxic culture. And it was cultivated over time. And Shador walked into it. And because he was black, because Harold Fanning Jr. was black, they didn't get the praise. But guess who did? Carson Swestinger. And you're not going to tell me Harold Fanning Jr. didn't deserve it. You're not going to tell me Shador didn't deserve it. 393 yards despite being held back and them raggedy Wildcats. It is documented that Stefanski was unwilling to build chemistry with Shedeur. And he was left in place to try to destroy that young man. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Shedeur got himself $1 billion case against the NFL. Between the draft in Cleveland, y'all should all see that this is not about Deshaun. This is not about Coach Prime. This is not about Shedeur. This is about black leadership in the NFL. At the most important position, the quarterback position. And Andrew Berry talked about that multiple times in his part of the press conference. And I'm going to tell you this, Andrew Berry, you better watch where you stepping, bro. You better watch where you stepping. Because the only reason they ain't fired you is because they fired the GM in Atlanta, who's black, and they fired the GM in Miami, who's black. So just like the draft, they drafted Cam Ward because they devalued Jalen Milroe. They devalued Shedeur. And they knew if they devalued all three at the same time, we would see the racism. Andrew Berry, you might think you safe. You might think you safe. But in an organization that does not respect black quarterbacks because it is the most important position, how the hell can they respect you as a GM? It's just a matter of time. Because if they would have fired Andrew Berry, it would be 3 black GM fires within months. And people would look. So Andrew Berry was non-committal on Shedeur. But guess what? Shedeur might be there and Andrew Berry might be gone. See, Andrew Berry's guilty part of the process is devaluing Shedeur's skills. Andrew Berry talk about how Shedeur has improved greatly. First of all, Shedeur is the same goddamn quarterback he was when he left Colorado. And Cleveland didn't do shit to help him. They tried to tear him down as a human being and to make him believe he wasn't worthy of being a quarterback. Why? Because the NFL has a disgusting, abusive history with black quarterbacks going all the way back to Willie Thrower and Marlon Briscoe. Marlon Briscoe and Shedeur have the same problem. They are black in an organization that does not respect black quarterbacks. It is to the point where when a black quarterback is being drafted, they need to talk to their agent to make sure they get to a organization that is friendly towards black quarterbacks. And there are several that are not. The New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, the New Orleans Saints, and the Tennessee Titans, for starters. For starters. All they do is draft to destroy and retain. So these black quarterbacks don't go off and start their own league or go to another league and be successful. They try to corner the market on black quarterbacks while they don't appreciate black quarterbacks. And Cleveland is no damn different. What the Browns did to Shedeur, what the Browns did to Deshaun, what the Browns did to Jameis Winston, what the Browns did to P.J. Walker, what the Browns did to Dorian Thompson-Robinson is criminal. Drafting to destroy, trading to destroy, and bench and kill the careers of black quarterbacks did not start with Shedeur, but it better end with Shedeur, or this whole league gonna be blown up. And just like Haslam should be forced to be fired because he allowed Stefanski to stay there and abuse Shedeur Sanders in front of all of us, just like they did in a goddamn draft. The commissioner of the NFL need to be fired, and Haslam need to be forced to sit his ass in a chair in front of Congress and explain why you left Stefanski to run a toxic environment that we can visibly see was filled with intimidation and retaliation for anybody that had appreciation or support or compassion for Shedeur Sanders while you were abusing him. Tony Brown and Wyatt Teller are just two. Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. Hasn't want to talk about he's confident that Stefanski can find another job. That's why he need to be forced to sell. The league needs to rid itself of people like Stefanski who do not value black quarterbacks. And if the league can't get it together and stop discriminating against these black quarterbacks, they're going to find themselves in a world of trouble with the fans, because it is the fans why Stefanski don't have a goddamn job. Because Haslam said Stefanski did good work for us. No, the hell he didn't. The job description is for a head coach, not an overseer. But since he was left there to try to tear Shedeur down as a human being and dehumanize him and humiliate him every goddamn day and make him feel like he's not worthy of being a quarterback in the NFL, I guess he checked off the boxes, which is why Haslam need to be fired. And he got an attitude because people said his organization is dysfunctional. It's corrupt. It's beyond dysfunctional. He need to be hauled in front of Congress right now. It's disgusting. And since Andrew Berry don't want to be committal to Shedeur, if y'all think y'all gonna run this shit back on Shedeur with Stefanski 2.0 next spring, you get ready. You get ready. Because I'm going to tell you to get ready. Because we're going to be on that. You understand me? We are not going to watch you in silence tear down this young man again and make him compete for something he already earned. He was the best damn quarterback you had on the goddamn roster. But because he black, you want to stumble all over yourselves. Or you want to pine away for the man kid that is not proven while Shedeur is proven. This is not Jim Crow. And they out here calling Andrew Berry a DEI hire. No, Andrew Berry actually did good at putting together a rookie roster while he stood silently while Stefanski tore every damn thing down. The NFL better get itself ready, because when this wildfire spread from one organization to another and the next is Baltimore, because everybody saw what happened to Lamar Jackson last night. You know what people were saying last night? Lamar Jackson, we owe you an apology. I feel sorry for Lamar Jackson. He has carried this team and they have consistently let him down. The NFL is running the same script on Lamar Jackson and Shedeur Sanders, just to start for the two. How do you think it is Cam Ward got 3,000 yards and they done only won 2 or 3 games? The same. The Browns had 2 receivers with 1,000 yards apiece, but only won 3 games last year because the quarterback is black. It was a 2-point game last night in Baltimore. What was the point differential after Mark Andrews dropped that ball? Was it 2 points? Or they went for 2 points? Mark Andrews got rewarded. Kevin Stefanski seemingly is about to fail up. But all Shedeur can expect is to be abused again when he comes back, because Andrew Berry is non-committal and is taking that on his shoulders when he knows that's coming from Haslam. See, Haslam already told us and was careless with his words. He wasn't my pick, and he allowed Stefanski to abuse Shedeur because Shedeur was not his pick. See, that's what you don't get to do, sir. You don't get to abuse a black man because you wanted to draft a white one. You should have drafted who over there in Miami, Quinn Ewers. Why you didn't draft Quinn Ewers? Because he's not the right white guy. They want to wait for the Manning kid. That's why Isaiah Bond is over there. So if the Browns think they're going to run it back with Shedeur and abuse him again and make him prove himself over and over and over, the way black people are made to prove who they are over and over and over when they're in white spaces, absolutely not. And just because Andrew Berry is sitting there and allowing his melanin to be the face of this toxicity, black people uphold white supremacy too at times. No excuses. That's the theme going into 2026 football season. No excuses. No excuses for consistently failing Lamar Jackson. No excuses for consistently failing Cam Ward. No excuses for consistently failing Shedeur Sanders. No excuses for consistently failing Spencer Rattler in New Orleans. Yeah, we watch those games. People believe the only reason that the GM and the head coach got fired is because the Falcons lost to the Saints. Understand this. The Falcons lost to the Saints with Kirk Cousins, the owner's choice. The same owner that gives all this money to HBCUs, but seemingly has a problem with having a black quarterback. You see how that works? Donating money to HBCUs is a tax write-off. But denying black quarterbacks and getting them intentionally injured. So the choice of the white quarterback that was brought in by the owner, Kirk Cousins, can get the playing time. It's disgusting. It is also dehumanizing Michael Penix Jr. Allow him to be hurt like he's not human and doesn't feel pain. Just because his skin is darker. And to fire 2 black personnel, leadership, Raheem Morris and the GM. What the hell you fired a GM for? Y'all clearly just won. You were tied for first place, but you fired the GM and you fired Raheem Morris because y'all won a game with Kirk Cousins, who the owner brought in. Make that make any kind of sense. The way I see it, they fired the GM because he drafted Michael Penix Jr., who's black. And Raheem Morris may have deserved to be fired, but damn it, Stefanski should have been fired at the same damn time. And Raheem Morris is not getting all of that love on the way out. Oh, he was so good. Then why the hell was he fired? People talking about Stefanski was good. Then why the hell is he fired? Then why the hell has he only won 6 games? Andrew Berry let it be known that in 2019, Stefanski applied for the job as head coach and did not get it. But he applied again in 2020 and he got it. Andrew Berry also said we were the only people to interview him for that job, which meant he wasn't worthy of being a head coach. And he wasn't a head coach. It's not a coincidence he got the job in 2020 when the NFL decided to apologize for not listening to Colin Kaepernick. It's not a coincidence he on the way out the door after the NFL has taken in racism out the end zone. It's not a coincidence that Stefanski's services are no longer needed. Because everywhere you look around the league where there's a black quarterback, Pat Mahomes included, they're all under attack publicly. No need to do it in the dark anymore, since we can do it in front of everybody, like we did to Shedeur, like we just did to Lamar, like we did to Spencer Rattler, like we did to Ward. The NFL has a serious problem when it comes to black quarterbacks elevating beyond 16. Andrew Berry's job is not safe. He was not the DEI hire. The DEI hire was Stefanski. He wasn't a head coach. He's not a head coach. And if he did somebody else's bidding, it'll come back to bite him at his next stop. And the team that hires him is already a legal liability because that's why he was fired. With all the love he's getting from Haslam, he wasn't fired because he only won a few games. He won a few games at the beginning of the year, so he should have been fired. But he was left to coach the last game and torture the hell out of Shador. He was left to lead wristband gate. He was left in place as head coach to run those raggedy Wildcats. He was left to have Blake Whiteheart to crush Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand. Just like the O-line in Baltimore crushed Lamar Jackson's ankle. Allowing black quarterbacks to be roughed up, sacked excessively. Black quarterbacks are not the majority of all quarterbacks, and they're not the majority of the starters, but they are the majority. They are the top 2 sacked the most. That's no different than getting a speeding ticket in an all-white town and only the black people get stopped. It's targeted. Andrew Berry's job is not safe. It's safe for now. because 2 black GMs have already been fired in ways that are head scratching. There was no reason to fire the GM in Atlanta. And I don't know how you fired both of them after you win. What the hell are you firing them for? Are you really mad because the Saints lost? They're not good. They might be good next year, but they're going to need a quarterback that can play the tougher teams. See, that's the problem. Was Raheem Morris incentivized to lose against the Saints and he said no, like Brian Flores in Miami or Hugh Jackson in Cleveland? Why black coaches got to be incentivized to lose? Or is it happening to the white coaches too? And we have a bigger problem of widespread corruption with rigging and fixing games in the NFL. Answer the damn question. Andrew Berry's karma, sitting there pretending that Shedor's skill set is inept and they're building it up, is what's going to cost him his job. Because Shedeur is a damn good quarterback. Just like Baker Mayfield left and did well. Flacco left and did well. You see, they won't talk about trading Shedeur because they know he's going to go somewhere and do well. And Andrew Berry is CYA as well, but his time is coming. Because he crazy as hell as a black man if he thinks they respect him and hasn't let him take the blame for bringing in Deshaun when ain't no way in hell. There's not one black owner in the group of owners in the NFL. You think they're going to let Andrew Berry give Deshaun $230 million and go on to not allow Stefanski to not make sure Stefanski can protect Deshaun? Stefanski didn't protect Deshaun. Stefanski didn't protect Shador. Stefanski didn't protect any goddamn black quarterback that the NFL didn't appreciate. If the NFL didn't appreciate Deshaun, why did they give him $230 million? Why didn't they put him on the misconduct list and kick him out? Answer the damn question. It's time these goddamn secrets and backdoor deals to come to the front, because it makes absolutely no sense that Haslam would complain and whine and cry about giving Deshaun $230 million and giving up all his picks to get it. Don't act like we don't see in return you got that bright, shiny new stadium in a city that's not Cleveland, which wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. There was a deal in place that nobody can take the team somewhere else that wasn't Cleveland. And what just happened? What just happened? What just happened? Haslam was allowed to take the damn team out the city with the name with it. So you give Deshaun Watson $230 million and don't protect him, keep him injured. An insurance company is paying his salary, and you get a bright, shiny new stadium, and you ain't won shit. And you can take the name with you against all the protections in place to make sure that don't happen. It's giving quid pro quo. It's giving insurance fraud, because you can't cry and scapegoat Deshaun and say, I didn't get Shedeur at number 2 overall because I have Deshaun. And you don't let Deshaun play. Because you know Deshaun is going to ball out. And you don't talk about trading Shedeur because you know Shedeur is going to go somewhere else and ball out. And the NFL crazy if they think they're going to be able to suppress Lamar Jackson, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, Michael Penix Jr., Pat Mahomes, Tyrod Taylor, and any other black quarterback, especially the brown-skinned black quarterbacks, and the fans don't say nothing about it. Just because you might have some of those players trained to shut up while black quarterbacks, visibly black quarterbacks, are being abused, you don't have the fans trained. And some of these players, y'all need to do better when y'all get on these podiums. Because when your coach is fired, the last thing you need to be up there doing is saying he was a good coach. Because why the hell was he fired? Just be quiet. Or say next question. Or I wish him well. You're not doing yourself no favors, because he's just going to end up in the league somewhere else. But it's unexplainable. Because why was he fired here? Why should he fail up somewhere else if he was losing over here? Haslam ought to be ashamed of himself. Oh, I'm optimistic Stefanski will get another job. If he was a legal liability in Cleveland, he's going to be a legal liability somewhere else. He's not a head coach. He clearly is some kind of henchman. And now that in racism is gone from the end zones, I guess he's free to go. And Barry is still over there because we just fired 2 black GMs, so let's wait before we fire him. Black leadership in the NFL is an all-out under attack. It was great for Shedeur to speak up about the coaches that actually supported him. He framed it as it takes a village. He also talks about being with people and making it about being human because he was dehumanized all goddamn year. From the pre-draft process till yesterday. And the Browns tried everything to suppress Shedeur. Everything to mentally break Shedeur Sanders down as a person, mentally and physically. That's not going to be easy for him to get away from. It will change him. So don't think it won't. And he won't even realize it. Because they were trying to ingrain in him that he isn't worthy enough. And while he may go out here and still be a superior athlete, you don't know the damage it has done to his psyche about how he feels about himself when he look in the mirror or how he feels about other people that look like he do. They were working him like he was tied to a goddamn tree. And because the season has ended, and thankfully so, perfect timing, he gets to go and understand that there were people there who were trying to show him love because he was being abused. And shame on anybody in that organization who tries to say that Stefanski is a good person. He is not. Stefanski chose to dehumanize another individual, another human being, and at the same time, downplay the accomplishments of the black players, including Harold Fanning Jr. And only wanted to celebrate Carson Swessinger. And whether people realize it or not, what he did in one goddamn game was to suppress Harold Fanning Jr., who could walk off on his own and remove him from being an asset for the quarterback. Stefanski did not protect the quarterback, and he should have been fired for that explicitly. But he left Carson Swessinger to play hurt and bloody so he could be a hero. But Harold Fanning Jr., we don't want you to be a hero. We don't see you like that. You just sit over there. You would think by looking with the naked eye, they didn't value Carson Swessinger. No, they wanted to build him up so he could be a defensive player of the year for the rookies. But Harold Fanning Jr., who also could have been a part of that award, got pushed down. Now imagine what had happened if Shedeur Sanders and Harold Fanning Jr. had started the season off together. They would be in the same conversation for offensive rookie of the year. And that's why it didn't happen. You think Stefanski didn't know who was on the roster? As the Browns pointed out, Stefanski's office is right next to Andrew Berry's. And it seemed from the outside looking in that Stefanski undermined Andrew Berry, which might explain some of the tension. But no need for Andrew Berry to sit up there and take up for Stefanski, because I can assure you, Stefanski going to fail up, but you will not. Unless you're related to somebody over there. You will not. They just waiting to put you in the next class of black leaders that they're going to fire and dismiss in an embarrassing fashion while they protected Stefanski, who's not a good person. If he was a good person, he would have had respect for another human being. If he was a good person, he wouldn't have tried to get Deshaun injured. And it doesn't look good that an insurance company picked up his salary and they refused to let him prove himself this year and put him back on the injured list. Is the insurance company going to pick up his salary again? Or is it covered for 2 years? Which meant it was all placating. There was more posturing and suppression than there was football, competitive football in Cleveland. Of course, they could have won more games if that was the plan. But the plan seems to be to reserve a parking space for a quarterback that plays for the University of Texas, which is why Andrew Berry is still non-committal on Shedeur Sanders, in addition to the fact that he feels like he has more growth to do because Andrew Berry himself is part of the problem. at saying Shedeur saying the skill set is retro style, which is absolute bullshit. Stefanski couldn't appreciate a dual threat in Deshaun. He couldn't appreciate a pocket passer in Shedeur because he couldn't appreciate black quarterbacks. That's for him to deal with as a person. He needs to look at himself in the mirror and ask, why the hell is he so threatened by young black men? And why is it he feels like he's the warden put in place to make sure they don't take hold of 17, 18, 19, or 20 black starting quarterbacks? Cleveland talking about Dante Moore, get used to Cleveland. Dante Moore, if Cleveland is in your agenda, I suggest you go back to school because they're going to make you a triplet over there with Deshaun and Shador, and you already saw what it was with two different quarterbacks. Now go back and add on Jameis Winston, P.J. Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and Jacoby Brissett. And you better do everything in your goddamn power to make sure they do not devalue you as well. Shedeur Sanders was the best quarterback coming out last year and this year, and they doing everything to suppress that. And they not going to stop. And they already started the foolishness with Trinidad Shamblers. Trying to devalue him outside the first round. So he's not 17, 18, 19, or 20. They did the same thing with Lenore Sellers. And he wised up and went back to school. Every black quarterback come out. They want to put them in the second round. But maybe we got to let one in. Dante Moore is listed as the quarterback in this draft with the most upside. But he's number 2. Behind Mendoza, who's a check down king. If you a check down king, your running back is going to have a fantastic year. And they're going to want to give the quarterback all the credit. That's also disgusting. And devaluing running backs. So again, these NFL teams that are not black quarterback friendly also end up devaluing their running backs as well. Quinshon Judkins is injured, is he not? Running him into a pile, knowing the offensive line was not blocking for him is what led to that. Because the body can only take so much stress. And that's exactly what happened to Deshaun. Sacked 33 times through 7 games. Stefanski failed to protect Deshaun. And we watched how Stefanski intentionally failed to protect Shedeur by weaponizing the roster, by weaponizing the depth chart, by benching the best players, by saying they were injured when they weren't, by taking the best players out the game. And even when Andrew Berry would bring in more people, more linemen, he refused to play them. Cornelius Lucas, Kendrick Green. That's how Kendrick Green showed support for Shedeur. Cornelius Lucas could have replaced number 67, who fans called out over and over and over, and number 72. Cornelius Lucas is a swing tackle. He can replace 72 or 68. And truth be told, it's documented. Andrew Berry brought in Cornelius Lucas to replace dirt diver Jack Conklin. Guess who Stefanski replaced Jack Conklin with? Guess who Stefanski replaced Wyatt Teller with? Not Cornelius Lucas, who was brought in and paid $5 million to replace Jack Conklin. They brought in the Nwuku guy. Why you brought him in? He was questionable in the last game. So it's as if Stefanski was fighting Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry keep going get linemen who can play on both sides. Stefanski refusing to play them and leaving an inept, a willfully negligent 68 and 72 and 75. And the center, he gonna get it too. Jack Conklin and KT Leviston, all willfully negligent. You could just look at the film. You would think the Browns don't watch film. You would think the Browns don't watch film at all. This award said they wanted to bring in a head coach, or they need a head coach that's going to hold people accountable. There was zero accountability from the owner. And he says everything rests at his feet, that you are responsible for zero accountability. Stefanski not protecting Shedeur, the O-line being willfully negligent, the wide receivers continuously dropping passes, but not being benched or replaced when you have ample players available on the roster, the depth chart, or the practice squad. There's no excuses. There's zero excuses. You can't cry about Deshaun because you went and got Deshaun, and somebody needs to tell the truth on why the Browns invested $230 million in Deshaun and didn't hold Stefanski accountable or make Stefanski accountable for not protecting Deshaun. And when Stefanski refused to build chemistry with Deshaun, why he wasn't fired. Because it seems that Stefanski went against the wishes and the directives and the personnel of the owner. Who gonna tell the truth about that? You can't even justify bringing in a player for $230 million and allowing the owner to dehumanize them. You can't even justify bringing in a different player named Shedeur Sanders and allowing the head coach to dehumanize him. These are two different people, and the activity was the same. And they're both black. And it's not just them. It's Jameis Winston. It's PJ Walker. It's Dorian Thompson-Robinson. It's Jacoby Brissett. It's Tyrod Taylor. And some of them were likely there before Stefanski. So it points back at the owner. It points back at the owner. Stefanski 2.0. Who's that going to be? Schwartz, who Stefanski hired? Of course he hired somebody like himself. We watched Schwartz suppress the defense. So he already know what to do. But the Browns got another thing coming. Because if you have to get out here as an owner and defend your product by saying, no, we do have a good product, you're right. You do have a good football team. But you allow your head coach to tear it down, suppress the talent, intimidate, retaliate against the talent, fake injuries, fixing and rigging games so that you could lose, so that when Shador got you in the playoff hunt, so y'all could exit. And the silence from the media tells you they all working together. I'm going to tell you this as a fan. I was happy as hell to watch some good football being played between the Steelers and the Ravens. What seemed to be competitive football till it got to the last field goal. And the Ravens going to protect the kicker just like they protected Mark Andrews. And they're going to consistently let Lamar down. And the Ravens are willing to go out here and spend all this money on talent. And even when they get all of the talent for Lamar to throw to, a problem that Shador's having in Cleveland, nobody to throw to, they still going to throw to Mark Andrews, and he going to lose them the AFC game, and they're going to send Lamar out there to cover for Andrews. And then they're going to turn around and let Lamar down again against the Bills in a regular season, and again when it's time to move on into the playoffs with a missed field goal. But Lamar is vindicated. He's him for sure. And it will be time to talk contract extensions with Lamar. But he need to get the hell out of Baltimore and go to a team that is black quarterback friendly. And if there are 32 teams and none of them are black quarterback friendly, then guess what? Just time to blow it all up. It's time to just blow it all up. Because there are a lot of fans, regardless of race, that did not come for the racial politics of the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens, the New Orleans Saints, the New York Giants, the Tennessee Titans. We didn't come for your racial politics. We came for competitive sports. If you drafted this black quarterback, we expect to see him develop in a system built around him so he can compete, not suppressed because it's time to talk a new contract, not suppressed because you want to pine away for the Manning kid at the University of Texas, not suppressed because race norming is still valued in this organization, and we don't believe that black quarterbacks have the cognitive ability to lead. We don't expect them to be suppressed because you know they can be Superman, but you want them to be Clark Kent because you want to go back to Will Levis that failed, or that you want to get a white quarterback. If you draft these black quarterbacks, you ought to be responsible and to treat them as human beings. And the expectation is you brought them in to compete, not to be suppressed because your racial politics take priority. Is that why you own the team? Is that why you're hired as the head coach? The truth needs to come on out. Maybe Cat Williams needs to make a run back, but this time talk about the NFL. Fans are starting to talk at how it seems that these black quarterbacks are being suppressed and restricted. Oh, if you have all of this athleticism that we graded you on in the draft and we oohed and awed in the combine, we don't want you to have a deep ball, Shedeur. We want you to stay in the pocket, Shedeur. Why? So his O-line can get him sacked? Because you don't have an O-line. Why would you direct Shedeur Sanders to stay in the pocket if the O-line is willfully negligent and the coach refuses to make adjustments? You want Shedeur to get hurt, which points to the fact on why you protected Blake Whiteheart, who intentionally crushed Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand. Just like the Ravens offense, number 77, crushed Lamar's ankle. They don't believe these black quarterbacks are human because the darker the skin, I guess they feel like they don't feel pain. They're human, damn it. I don't care how much melanin they have. And these owners need to be held accountable. And half of them need to be forced to sit in front of Congress and explain why racial politics takes priority in Cleveland. They need to be forced to sell the team to an owner that wants to own a sports franchise and not a remnant of a plantation from 1800s. If you think the fans weren't happy this year, wait until this conversation starts to spread to other organizations and people realize what's happening to their black quarterbacks. Fans like the quarterbacks. Lamar, Shedeur, Cam, Spencer Rattler. Fans like the goddamn quarterbacks. So it's time for the truth to come out. No more whining about Deshaun and scapegoating him. Explain why you paid him $230 million, but left a head coach that you refuse to hold accountable for not protecting him. Explain why you drafted Shador and you left Stefanski in place to dehumanize him and not protect him. And you can't use the same excuse with Deshaun that you use with Shador because they have two different quarterback styles. Explain how an owner of a team whose team has been called dysfunctional and corrupt can leave a head coach in place that he know he gonna fight. Even though he don't want to, but I know I have to leave you because you're a legal liability and the fans not having it. You haven't won enough games, but you leave Stefanski in place to torture Shedeur one last time. Stefanski didn't even mention Shedeur in his final press conference. Now watch him go fail up somewhere else. And the media, all they want to do is ask Shedeur about Stefanski. Get Dylan Gabriel up there and let him talk about Stefanski. We don't care what he's going to say. Why you don't give him the same treatment to put him on the spot? Let him talk about Stefanski. It's funny how they didn't do that, knowing that Dylan was Stefanski's boy. It's disgusting, bro. These teams need to start answering. If Donald Sterling had to sell his team due to racism, well, guess what? The Browns, you on the clock. The Giants, you on the clock. The Saints, you on the clock. The Titans, you on the clock. Your racial politics is out in the open and there are consequences. And it starts in Cleveland and it will spread to Tennessee. It will spread to New York. It will spread to the Saints. Because the fans want to see a competitive football team. Not your racial politics play out. We ain't paying for that. And these games not free. It said, oh my God, can you believe it? I'm ready to see what the girl has to say. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? How you doing? Celebration. Yeah, it's time to celebrate, but the Browns are not committed to Shedeur. So while they got rid of Stefanski, you can expect Stefanski 2.0 to roll right on in. So don't get too excited. It said, hey, gang, I'm worried about who. Yeah, there you go. I mean, you got to be realistic. You can't get excited about the next coach when they didn't want to depart from this coach. The fact that they held on to Stefanski and allowed him to abuse Shedeur and dehumanize him. Stefanski hired Schwartz. So, you know, if it's Schwartz, it's more of the same. Andrew Berry alluded to it's a lot of coaches out there. But Andrew Berry also is guilty of devaluing Shedeur Sanders' skill set. So he's not off the hook. It's just too many black GMs maybe have been fired all at once, so we have to wait to get to you. So he has to CYA as well. And since they pining for the Manning kid, he probably gone next year. So Shedeur got to be over there another year with the Browns, showing him and telling him, we don't want you. We don't value you. You haven't proved enough, even though he got them in the hunt for the playoffs. And Stefanski made sure they didn't move one step further and got eliminated. And yet he got to keep his job. And Raheem Morris and Fontenot in Atlanta, who won their damn game, was tied for first place, got fired in embarrassing fashion after they won. This is racial politics. It's just racial politics. It's racism against black leadership in the NFL, including the quarterback position, which means Shedeur Sanders. So, yeah, it's good they fired Stefanski. But the fact that they're not happy about it tells me you could expect another Stefanski to come right through. Happy Monday. How you doing? It said, now all we need is a QB. If you don't think you have a quarterback in Cleveland, you're not a football fan. It said, the illest show on the planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It says, Stefanski got fired. Finally, long overdue. Raheem Morris will be a perfect to fill in Cleveland. Yeah, I don't know about that. Let me tell you what Raheem Morris's big mistake was. Raheem Morris, and I said this, I think, last night. Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot, okay? Maybe Fontenot hired Morris. I don't know who hired Morris. All I know is Fontenot drafted Michael Penix Jr., okay? The owner went and got Kirk Cousins and gave him an ungodly contract that wasn't worthy of his skill set, right? The owner tells Raheem Morris, apparently, allegedly, you could decide who to play. I watched Michael Penix Jr. go through camp. He was ready to go. First round draft pick, right out of college, the most ready quarterback, ready to go, just like Shedeur. And what did they do? Raheem Morris benched him and put Kirk Cousins out there. And Kirk Cousins went on to be abysmal. And the fans got disgusted. And I was included with that. That's why I don't watch them no more. So I watched Raheem Morris do what his owner wanted rather than do what is best for the team. And you getting fired anyway. And the irony of it is they're firing him with Kirk Cousins as the goddamn quarterback. And they said, and that's who the owner brought in. Just like the owner brought in Deshaun. The owner in Atlanta brought in Kirk Cousins, who in his year one in Atlanta failed miserably. And Michael Penix Jr. had to clean it up. And because fans were revolting and didn't want to get season tickets and complaining, the first thing the Falcons GM did this year was say what? Michael Penix Jr. going to be the starter. And what happened? He get out there, and the offensive coordinator is suppressing Michael Penix Jr. the same way Shedeur Sanders was suppressed, the same way Lamar Jackson was suppressed, because they're black quarterbacks. And they're beautifully melanated black quarterbacks. For people that point out Michael Vick was in Atlanta, you damn sure right he was. And what the hell happened after that situation that most people can't figure out how that came to light, and there was something there. And yes, it was wrong. And wrong is wrong, but the Falcons were wrong as well. Why do you think the NFL rehired Michael Vick? And if Michael Vick were Ben Roethlisberger, he would have never been treated that way, because Ben Roethlisberger was accused of SA and didn't even get suspended. And the second time he got accused of it, he got suspended for the same suspension term as if he had marijuana. Not SA, violation of a human being. And apparently there's a third. And they talk about him going to the Hall of Fame. Is Michael Vick in the Hall of Fame? Let's see what happens with that. So it's okay for Ben Roethlisberger to violate a human being, a woman. But it's not okay for Michael Penix Jr. Michael Vick had to go to jail, but not Ben Roethlisberger. What's the difference? One is black and one is white. And the Falcons tried to take back Michael Vick's signing bonus, something that had given him years prior, and bankrupt his family. Did they even want to draft Michael Vick, the first black quarterback to go number one? Well, if I didn't want Shedeur, if I didn't want Lamar, if I didn't want Tyrod Taylor, if I didn't want Geno Smith, hell, I didn't want Cam Newton. Why the hell would I want Michael Vick? I pointed that out. They didn't want Donovan McNabb, who was before Michael Vick. So if I don't want the black quarterbacks before Michael Vick, if I don't want the black quarterbacks after Michael Vick, what the hell make y'all think I respected Michael Vick? He made us money, just like Coach Prime. And did the Falcons retire Coach Prime's jersey? No. And who supposedly made that prank call? Why do you think it is the NFL lied and said it was Falcons? Because they wanted to make it seem personal. And watch who get that head coaching job. Just like Mark Andrews got rewarded for losing the AFC game. Just like Haslam got rewarded for taking Deshaun Watson and ruining his career by not allowing him to be protected or to play when he's healthy. He got a new stadium. Michael Penix Jr., on one play in particular, I have watched Michael Penix Jr. His O-line did the same damn thing that Lamar Jackson's O-line did, that Shedeur Sanders' O-line did, that Cam Ward's O-line did, that Jada Daniels' O-line did, that CJ Stroud's O-line did. You see where I'm going? This is a pattern of behavior of corruption against black NFL starting quarterbacks. Because this year was a historic year at 16. Guess who was number 17? The one that was done the dirtiest in the draft. Shedeur Sanders. Milroe was essentially buried, and they don't expect to see him again in 2 years. Michael Penix Jr. almost broke down crying in one game because of the way the offensive coordinator was suppressing him. And what was the solution? To bring the offensive coordinator from the booth onto the field instead of doing right by the quarterback. And the fans had a hissy fit in Atlanta. And I said it, the Falcons don't want to win with a black quarterback. I don't give a damn how much money they get as a tax write-off for donating to HBCUs. It's facts. For the owner to go out and give Kirk Cousins an ungodly amount of money and his talent was not proven. When you got Michael Penix Jr., your GM, why did you even hire a black GM? If you didn't appreciate him getting Michael Penix Jr., you didn't appreciate Michael Penix Jr. So if you don't appreciate black quarterbacks, how is it you appreciate black GMs? You don't. You're posturing with their melanin. So you don't appear racist because who was fired in Miami because McDaniels didn't want a goddamn bitch tour? The GM that's black. This is racism. And it's physically harmful for the black quarterbacks. It's several people who should be forced to sell their teams. I don't know who the hell you're going to sell them to. Maybe the fans of these goddamn private equity groups that's starting to get membership. And that's probably what's going to start to change in about 10 years. Because one thing, running after liquid capital and bringing in these private equity firms, they want to win, goddammit. They don't give a damn about your racial politics. So it might take 10 years to get this shit right. But these black quarterbacks better stay in school or stay away or stay aware when you come here. They not going to just draft you and put you on the bench. No. You're going to get out there and get hurt. Hurt long enough that you can't play for a season. And that's exactly what happened to Michael Penix Jr. after the fans stood up for him and said, no, he's our quarterback. It's like the Falcons organization said, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to have to show you. Michael Penix gets injured with an ACL tear. He's out for 9 to 12 months. Kirk Cousins went on. Kirk Cousins wasn't good. And people are saying Raheem Morris got fired because they lost to the Jets. Guess who the hell was the quarterback when they lost to the Jets? Kirk Cousins. Which meant what? The owner's choice came back to bite Raheem Morris, who he was forced to play, Kirk Cousins. The owner set up Raheem Morris. The owner set up the goddamn GM from the rip, knowing that he drafted Michael Penix Jr. and had no intentions on investing in him as the franchise quarterback outside of optics. Because this is exactly what happened to Shedeur Sanders. He just didn't get hurt. Thank you, God. We were praying before that game that he escaped this game without injury, because it definitely was in the cards for him. It happened to Lamar. It happened to CJ. It happened to Jaden. It happened to Cam. It was supposed to happen to Shedeur. The difference is Shedeur is aware of what's going on. I still don't know if Lamar Jackson has figured out what the hell is happening. Russell Wilson already said they can't break me. But he's not talking about because of his race. He's talking about because he filed a grievance that they were colluding against veteran quarterbacks because they gave Deshaun $230 million, fully guaranteed, but not the quarterbacks who perform better than him. That's why Kyler Murray didn't finish the season as a starter. That's why you saw what happened to Russell Wilson. He gonna get pushed out, just like he got pushed out of Denver. He got pushed out of Pittsburgh. They knew last night, supposedly, what they were going to do to Mike Tomlin if he lost that game. But there was no word about parting ways with Stefanski. And Raheem Morris and his GM, both black, got fired before Stefanski. There are 0 black offensive coordinators. They don't want 17 black starting quarterbacks. They whittling away at the black GMs they only put in place to posture. There were 9. Now they're missing 2. Andrew Berry next. And because he devalued Shadeur's skill set and he want to continue on with that in his press conference today, to hell with him. You can't act like you helping somebody while you're also simultaneously hurting them. You can't be trusted either. Shedeur should actually be traded to another team. Cleveland is not for him in terms of the players, especially on offense, because we have watched about 13 members on offense sell their own quarterback up the goddamn river. If they want Dillon, let him keep Dillon. But you don't get to suppress and devalue Shedeur Sanders because the Browns are not black quarterback friendly. Yeah, people upset that Barry's staying because he black. They feel like he should have been fired with Stefanski, because how they dare them fire a black man. It is ridiculous to be a white man and not the black man. It is ridiculous to be having these conversations in 2026. And you know, I felt like it was surreal that it's 2026. And in a manner of respect, when I say it out loud, it sounds so like when you see what they call it, a concept car. It's so futuristic. We have made it so far to the future, but yet the NFL seems to be the only league having these archaic, derogatory, racist conversations. Because that's who they want to attract as fans so they can keep their racism a priority. You can't do it with fans who are not racist because we're not paying for that. The games are not free to watch. And they're not free to attend. People have to travel to these games. And there are a lot of black people there. There are a lot of black people that watch. We know this from the halftime show. You're going to disregard 134 million black people? You're going to disregard 134 million people around the globe? You can't do that. You cannot do that. Shedeur is beloved by a global community. So Dante Moore, you need to trade carefully, sir. It's a little hostile over here. You need to find a team that's black quarterback friendly. And Philadelphia apparently already got a quarterback. So I don't know what you're going to do. It said, who got the champagne? Let's pop it. It said Kevin Stefanski deserves to be fired. He lied and was extremely biased with black quarterbacks. He dug a hole for himself. God's perfect timing. Right, Tamika? So why is it that Haslam is upset that he had to move on from Stefanski? Why is it Barry is still non-committal with Shedeur? So pop the champagne because he fired. But let's keep that perspective. That's Stefanski 2.0 gonna roll right on in the door. It said this is the Safest, nicest firing statement ever. It said he got put down today. Right. Basically, it said Shedor's QB1 since day one. Right. About time. It said, yup, the fans. Yeah, that's on the pressure. Because if you listen to Haslam, he's like, we do have a good product. I'm like, oh, so you was listening to people say, because I know I said it, your product is trash. You heard people say the organization is dysfunctional. Did you hear him say it was corrupt? Did you hear him say it was toxic? Did you hear him say that the word RICO, the acronym RICO, is actually valid here? Did you hear him say Stefanski was fixing and rigging games by manipulating the roster, by refusing to make adjustments? He wanted to leave Dylan in to lose and leave the O-line as is, despite who Barry brought in to make adjustments so Shedeur could get hurt. Did you hear that? So this is well beyond Stefanski. That's just the first person that got to go. Haslam gave props to the fans. He had to. It said, can Jerry Jeudy leave? Right. He need to go with Stefanski and take Dylan with you. But again, that mentality is coming from Haslam. That mentality is coming from Haslam. Hit the like button, please. Yes, thank you. How many of us in here? 289. Hit the like button, please. It said Haslam should stop playing. Right, he is playing. That's why I heard him. I was like, okay. I said, okay, so he wants to be upset. He said, I can say with I guess he was anticipating or optimism that Stefanski will get a job. He shouldn't. I can't wait till he get another job in the NFL so that shit can blow up over there too, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to follow him like a dark cloud, because when you dehumanize another human being, which is criminal, that don't fall away. That remains with your reputation. So any team that takes on Stefanski can get ready. If he go out there and win, they might dismiss it, but he's not a good coach. All he knows how to do is destroy quarterbacks and dehumanize the black ones. When Andrew Berry said nobody else interviewed Stefanski for the job, and how you probably think he got that job? Pat Schumer. Did y'all know Pat Schumer used to coach? Was a head coach over there? Pat Schumer tried to get Stefanski a job with the Giants, and they said no. If the Giants take on Stefanski, stay tuned. Stay tuned. It said all facts. Kevin was doing exactly what Haslam wanted him to do. That's why Kevin was comfortable race norming. Right. And where did the race norming come from? The NFL itself. Just like the NFL gave out Shedeur Sanders' phone number to 2,000 people and lied and said it was the Falcons. It had nothing to do with the Falcons. Let's do who get rewarded for that. Just pay attention. Race norming. The NFL settled $1 billion lawsuit because it said black NFL players are dumber than whites. If you come into this league, you better know that that's what they was thinking. In 2021, that's what Stefanski was doing to Shedeur. That's what Stefanski did to Deshaun. Race norming. You're not worthy. You're a thrower, as in Willie Thrower, the first black quarterback. He know his history, don't he? He know his history, don't he? He knew exactly what he was doing, and what's crazier is he was trying to tell you what he was doing. He just didn't think there would be consequences for it. I don't know why they thought the fans would be okay. It says a lot about the fan base. It says a lot. It said, God is good. I saw Coach Prime an hour ago post, thank God. Absolutely. Absolutely. 20 million followers and counting. We are here to stay. Facts. We ain't going nowhere. And like I said, this shit gonna spread because the Baltimore fan base is talking. I posted last night. I said the Ravens do not want to win with Lamar Jackson. And somebody, a Ravens fan, said, you know, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I said, it's just a matter of time. Lamar get himself 20 million fans and it's on. That's all I'm going to say. Harbaugh should have been fired after the game. But who was fired? Raheem Morris and the GM. Two black gentlemen after winning, but not Harbaugh after losing. Not Stefanski, who should have been fired. So they're protecting the white coaches who dehumanize or suppress the black quarterbacks. But they fired the black coach for playing the quarterback that the white owner picked, which is Kirk Cousins, and the GM who drafted Michael Penix Jr., who they injured. Yep, moved it right on out the way. AB is not safe at all. It's just a matter of time. It said this year, It said, let's talk about what GMs have been replaced. It said this year, early in 2026, it said the main NFL GM change was the Miami Dolphins parting ways with Chris Grier late 2025. He's black. And while the Atlanta Falcons fired GM Terry Fontenot on January 4th, he's black. It said amongst broader coaching shakeups on Black Monday, other teams like the Cardinals, Browns, Raiders, and Giants saw head coaching changes. So let's get this straight. In late 2025, only 2 GMs between 2025 and now have been fired, and they're both black. So could they have fired Andrew Berry without raising an eyebrow toward racism? Hell no, because that would have been 3. Andrew Berry's job is not safe. It's safe because they pining away for the man kid, and he gonna be tucked away at UT for another year. And finally, Tony Grossi wanted to have the story. Rizzo threw it out there, but I threw it out there first. And I made sure to put it all over social media, especially X. And now they want to talk about it. And they're going to keep talking about it because they want to make Shedeur feel uncomfortable so he can know he's not the guy. When in reality, they lost in 2024 because they knew that kid was coming out. So they thought in 2026. They lost in 2025 because they thought that kid was coming out in 2026. But he supposedly ain't coming out to 2027. So I need to hold on to Shedeur. I'm going to hold on to Andrew Berry. And I'm going to get rid of both of them at the same time to make way for the Manning kid and whoever they want to bring in as the head coach and the GM of the franchise when the Manning kid is here. Rolling out the red, white, and blue carpet for the Mannings. Just like the Saints, the Giants, and the Browns. You see what's happening here, don't you? So go ahead and pop your champagne. But you might want to put the cork back on it and save it for later. It said, look at God, making the crooked places straight, right? That's one. That's one. Sylvia Taylor, how you doing? Hey, it said, pay attention. Facts. It said, yes, I'm with you when you're right. Yep. It said, Roger Goodell should be gone. Facts. That's it right there. That's another one. He too toxic, bro. He is the reason the league itself has such a toxic culture. I don't care if all 32 owners got together and cultivated it. He allows it. It's almost like he's just a figurehead to shield them from any liability. It's crazy to me how Haslam had an attitude. That somebody said the Browns was dysfunctional when we all could see not only is it dysfunctional, it's corrupt. It must be the sponsors that kind of want to start washing their hands. And if he bring in Stefanski 2.0, it will continue to be dysfunctional and we will get louder. And there will be more people with us and it will spread to another organization. I can probably guess either the Titans or the Ravens. People like Michael Penix Jr. in Atlanta. Watch what happens. I can't wait till the Falcons fans who happy Raheem Morris got fired should be scratching their head and wonder why they kicked out the GM too. Remember, he drafted Michael Penix Jr. Now watch what happens when they get a new coach and they don't get Michael Penix Jr. back. Watch what happens. I'm like, see, because y'all don't be paying attention. That's why I stopped being a Falcons fan. Raheem Morris did what the owner wanted to do, and it came back to bite him in the butt like it's going to come back to bite who? Andrew Berry. That's why I didn't like Raheem Morris, because you had Michael Penix Jr. You got intimidated, just like Mike Tomlin got intimidated. Just like Andrew Berry. Think he's safe. Okay. All right. You only safe, and you think kicking on Shador or not being committed to Shador going to keep you safe? They already know who your replacement is. And so does Rizzo at the damn Cleveland station. It's that media. Hey, Shador, what's your opinion about Kevin getting fired? Shador, guy works in mysterious ways. I'm glad Shador came here because he brought out everything from top to bottom. He did, Jenkins, but it definitely would pay the price. But the reward should be great. The reward should be great. And that is true. With Shador in Cleveland, everything got exposed. And now people starting to look at what's going on with Lamar a little closer. Wasn't just the AFC. It happened again last night, and it's going to happen again. Lamar has got to sit down and ask himself. And I said this last year on video. Do the Ravens want to win with me? I said that last year. Now Lamar has to sit down and just admit the Ravens don't want to win with me. God, open that door. You better go to another team. You better go to another team because the Ravens have been exposed. They placated him when they brought in Isaiah Likely and still threw to Mark Andrews, who showed that he failed in that whole AFC game before the second half started. They knew what they were doing. We might have to let you in because Ivy Newsom drafted him, but we don't have to let you in. And they snatched his third MVP from him and gave it to Josh Allen. It said we need to check your blood pressure. Oh my God, I feel you. I'm straight, bro. Thank you. I'm straight. It said, I just see Kevin's statement. It is true. It said, if so, bring in someone who knows the OB and O-line. Hell, bring in a real coach that's not racially biased against black quarterbacks. Start with that. It said, yeah, okay, what about the Rooney Rule? Right. I mean, honestly, every black quarterback name they threw out was because of the Rooney Rule. Let's see what happens. Yes, he is fired. It said he don't have to say Shedeur name. It said buy Stefanski and take Dylan with you. I know that's right. It said Warren Moon. What about Warren Moon? That's why he went to Canada. That's why Warren Moon went to Canada, to specifically escape being devalued the way Shedeur has, the way Lamar has, and the way Cam has, and Rattler has, Jada Daniels. They talking about, well, he get injured a lot. I'm like, so does Joe Burrow, but you have no problem with it. JJ McCarthy, you have no problem with it. Only when it's a black quarterback. They nitpicking because this was a historic year with black quarterbacks at 16, and they seem allergic to 17 because the nasty way they treated Shador, the dehumanizing and criminal way Shador was treated in that draft, shows you how they gonna act when they get to 17. Like, that ain't gonna never happen. I'm like, is the earth going to explode first? Because there were no black quarterbacks, and here we are pushing the door at 17 QB1s that are black. And you acting like this over having a majority of black quarterbacks, wait till the fans find out. The Rooney Rule just guarantees the interview. Right. You don't necessarily get the job. That's what Brian Flores' lawsuit is all him. They had already made their selection. So that's facts. That's just facts. The Rooney Rule doesn't guarantee you a job at all. And it's a shame you have to have a rule to be considerate of the skill set of a black head coach candidate. That's probably why Marcus Freeman went back to college. You see how black quarterbacks going back to college? Marcus Freeman went back to college. That's where you safe at. You better go over there. And they started it over there, but you're going over there while you can. Dante Moore, pay attention. I said it about Lenore Sellers, and I was thrilled to death he was going back to school. DJ Lagaway going back to school. Trinidad Shambliss is trying to go back to school, but the NCAA playing in his face, delaying his waiver, trying to control if he gonna come out this year, so he's not competition for who next year, in addition to everybody else that's coming out next year. But see, Dante Moore go to Oregon. What is Oregon's position? Do you think Oregon want him to come back? Or do you think they want to push him out this year so he's not competition for the Manning kid next year? They trying to part the Red Sea for that kid, and he's not even proven. And they stepping on every black quarterback in the process. Stefanski ran amok. Absolutely. He absolutely did. Black Monday started yesterday. These bombs gave him time to write up a statement, but not Atlanta. Right. That's what I'm saying. It said, thank God Shedeur has a firm foundation. Facts. Shedeur was talking about how family is good, but it's not enough. He needs something else. But I want to caution Shedeur about something. Shedeur Sanders, young man, take the off season and don't think because your head is above water, you're good. You need to sit down and process and admit what was really happening. Let your mother love on you. I heard him say his father, he didn't want to call him because he was going to be trying to coach him overly. Let your mother love on you. I'm like, your mother is a ride or die. I watched her go from Tampa to wherever Shedeur was within a day. And a mother's love, you need that. You might think you don't need that. You might think you need something external. And if you think you need something external, you're subconsciously going to go seek it. Be careful, young man. You have been traumatized. You have been abused. And when people have been abused and traumatized, you need to have a therapy session or 2 or 6 so you can process and get this out. And you were not supposed to be tortured in vain. It was for you to learn that the draft, what happened to you in the draft, was not about your father. What happened to you in Cleveland was not about you or your father. Because it happened to Deshaun. You need to look. It happened to Shedeur. It happened to Lamar. Go watch Lamar's game yesterday, and you will see yourself on the field. Lamar Jackson didn't have people to throw to, just like you didn't have people to throw to. And they went and got people for you to throw to. And guess what? They got people for Lamar to throw to, and they still threw to Mark Andrews, who was there before Isaiah Likely and the others. It seems that once they have decided that they don't want you to be the guy, whether you get the nod or not, they do everything in their power to make sure you're not successful. The one picture that should have happened is after the Ravens game. We should have had a picture of Shador and Lamar talking, but that didn't happen. It's young Shador, don't fall into that trap. Don't think this just happening to you. It is happening to Lamar. Lamar need to talk. You and all the black quarterbacks, y'all all need to be in a group chat called 17 to 32 because that's what y'all are facing. What y'all are facing is what Warren Moon went to Canada to escape. And now it's back. And race Norman seems to have gone nowhere. And race Norman and the NFL says that black players, regardless of position, are dumber than white players, regardless of position. And the way you were treated proves that race Norman is still alive and well. Don't fall into that trap. I'm fine. I'm fine. You've been traumatized. And just saying you're fine is not the answer. You have got to sit down and process whether it's with God or a therapist and God. If God put a therapist on your path, you have got to process this and accept it for what it is. You can't knock yourself out accepting these people or trying to be who they want you to be, because inevitably you will lose yourself and you will end up like the large numbers of black players that leave the NFL searching for an identity because you chose to give up yours. You chose to give up yours. Don't do that. Let your mother love on you. Go to therapy and process the trauma you have sustained that we all watch to dehumanize you. And nobody is dehumanizing you because of your father. Because they did it to other black quarterbacks. They did it to Deshaun. They did it to other black quarterbacks in Cleveland before you. Accept the NFL for what they have proven themselves to be when it comes to black quarterbacks. The history is there. Read it. Start with Willie Thrower, then go to Marlon Briscoe, and then get to yourself. And then look at what they're doing to Trinidad Shambliss coming after you, and Dante Moore, devaluing him behind Mendoza when they have documented he has the most upside. Pay attention to the teams they are trying to send him to devalue him or Trinidad Shambliss. All the black quarterbacks are being steered to Cleveland. And why do you think that is? Because Cleveland has a reputation for not just upending black quarterbacks' careers, but quarterbacks, period. And anybody that suggests that's where you should go, knowing that the Cleveland Browns have never drafted a black quarterback in the first round and would only do so begrudgingly like they did when they fired Stefanski. You are not okay. You are not okay. Nobody's okay after they've been abused. Nobody. And Joku didn't see eye to eye with Kevin either. Surprise, surprise, he's black. Yeah, and guess what? And Joku is likely not coming back unless Andrew Berry retains him, but I'm pretty sure they retaliated. We're going to see how far the retaliation breathes and lives on without Stefanski. And then you're going to know what it is. Stefanski 2.0, just saving a place for that person, right? Everybody now that they're getting, just like they brought in Isaiah Bond in 25 because they thought the Manny kid was coming out in 26, they're going to use the 2026 class to get ready for the Manny kid. And you're going to hear more and more about that because they want to say it out loud, because they don't want to admit that Shedeur is their franchise QB because we don't want you. We don't value with or without Stefanski. Look at how Cam Ward was treated after Callahan was fired, and that's what you're going to get. More of the same. We want he has the ability to be Superman, but we want him to be Clark Kent. Same for Shedeur. Same for Dante Moore. Same for Trinidad Shambliss. Same for Lenore Sellers. Same for Jaden Daniels. Same for CJ Stroud. Same for Malik Willis. Same for Jordan Love. Same for all black quarterbacks. You have the ability to be Superman, but we want you to be Clark Kent. Is that really where you want to go? Is this really where you want to be? It said Mark was Mark again, dropping passes. He did that in practice. Jerry Jeudy was in practice, giving little effort, not even trying, and went out and did it on the field. And what did Tommy Reese say? I love Jerry Jeudy. We're going to feature him more so he could do the same thing. Fixing and rigging games. Tommy Reese included. Jerry Jeudy, Tommy Reese, and Stefanski. And there's some other people out there too, but the three for sure. For sure. So Shador didn't have nobody to throw to, just like Lamar. So you already know what's going to happen next. It said Falcons won and the head coach and the GM got fired. Right, because they're black. It said Kevin definitely is racist. And not only did he get rid of the black players, he got rid of Baker Mayfield because he saw Baker as the black guy. Look at how Baker came into the league. Kevin threatened by black QBs. I didn't see Baker when he came into the league, but one thing I knew about Baker's career in Cleveland, they wanted him to be a check down king, and he wasn't having it. And supposedly they got him injured to move him out the way to get the shine. Supposedly that's what the answer is. 17-32. That's what it is. They already found him another job. Right. That's part of the deal. That's why they didn't want to fire him like they did Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris ain't finna get no another job. Neither is the GM. If he don't get one, if Chris Grier don't have a job, Raheem Morris and Fontenot, Andrew Berry next. Because why? They have successfully whittled away to 0 offensive coordinators. And you know what? We were talking about the New York Giants because they were saying the New York Giants was going to get a black head coach. I'm like, that's bullshit. I said, because if the team never had a black quarterback and don't respect black quarterbacks, they ain't getting no black head coach. That's just not what's going to happen. I said, and somebody pointed out about the black, they had a black GM, and they did. And he was not allowed to draft a black quarterback in the first round. Neither was Andrew Berry, but Fontenot did. And where is he? Fired. Who did he draft? Michael Penix Jr. Where is he? Injured, like Deshaun Watson. Insurance company paying his salary? I bet it is. They got it all figured out. They got it all figured out except for where God is in this equation. Stay. They got everything figured out but God. It said everyone wanted him gone. Now that he's gone, they crying. Right. It said they mad because Barry didn't get fired. Right. So the people that are crying that Stefanski's gone, they thought Barry was going to get fired with Stefanski. So they were trying to get to Barry. They were trying to get to Barry, but the black guy gets to keep his job in Cleveland, and they mad that the white guy got fired. This is why 2 black people got fired in Atlanta. And Raheem Morris did exactly what the owner wanted, and they blaming him for losing to the Jets with the owner's pick. Ain't that just about? That's why you don't do what they want you to do. That's why you do what Isaac Newsom did. And they already were threatening Mike Tomlin last night after the game. I'm like, God damn, this man has been to 2 Super Bowls. Kevin Stefanski ain't been nowhere. And oh, we don't want to fire him. Then I tell you what, then go to his house for dinner. This is a competitive sports league, not your little buddy sandbox. And that's what these owners and these GMs are confused about. Just because you have the power to build and destroy doesn't mean the fans are going to be okay with it when they figure out what's going on. And that's the awakening that's happening. Fans are starting to figure out that what's happening to Shedeur is happening to Lamar and Jada Daniels and CJ Stroud and Cam Ward and will happen to Dante Moore, will happen to Lenore Sellers, will happen to Darian Mitzer, will happen to Trinidad Shambles. Facts. Fans are starting to figure out. So I said, this virus is going to spread. It's going to spread all the way around this league. It's going to eventually get to Jalen Milroe, but they think they have buried him for 2 to 3 years on the depth chart, which is what they wanted to do with Shedeur. And they fought. They did not want to fire Kevin Stefanski. That's why they let him stay and torture Shedeur, which is why Shedeur needs to be traded away. And somebody better force a trade, or this shit gonna get worse next year. And not just for Shedeur, for the Browns and for Haslam. Because Stefanski already gone. So you bring Stefanski 2.0 in here. And it should run it right on back. All y'all gone. The fans have the last say. Because without the fans watching the games, buying these subscriptions, going to the games, you can't survive. So the fans have the final say. And the product was trash because you allowed it to be trash. You allowed Stefanski to destroy everything Andrew Berry built. And you want people to think you respect Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry must be either double talk, playing the game, because he better not buy into it. Because he Terry Fontenot next year. It said they made Berry. It said they made Berry didn't get fired. Facts. It said the hidden landmines are still in place. That's right. They underestimated Shedeur's fan base. The NFL did too. Even though the NFL used Shedeur Sanders on draft night for likes and clicks, they underestimated the consequences and the accountability that was going to come with that. They didn't expect it. They thought people was just going to be quiet. Are you crazy? You don't have the fans trained. But that's what they thought. And they think if we bring around more black people, they won't hold us accountable. Damn lie. These are our cousins. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Just because you got some of these players to turn on each other, you ain't got shit to do with us. These are our cousins. We're not going to sit by and allow you to Colin Kaepernick, Shedeur, and no other black quarterback out here. So if you think you're going to retaliate against Shedeur, we're going to stand up for Lamar. We're going to stand up for Jada Daniels. We already see what you're doing. These are our cousins, goddammit. The hell wrong with these people? Just because you believe black people don't stand up for one another don't mean it's true. That's your damn shortcoming for believing ignorance. Yep, Michael Vick. Michael Vick said in a documentary, he said it's rigged. Because look at how Brett Favre, who cheated the system in Mississippi, is treated and heralded, talking about the Hall of Fame and all of that. And then his little scandal with the nudes and all of that stuff. And look at Michael Vick. And yeah, the Falcons trying to ruin Michael Vick. Yep, Michael Vick is wrong, but so was Roethlisberger and so was Brett Favre. And you don't say shit about Justin Tucker, shut the hell up. Deshaun Watson. And I can't wait to the day that Deshaun Watson stands up and tell the whole goddamn truth about who was truly involved in MassageGate, in the Texas organization that was white and married. And it was not just Deshaun, because he ain't white and he wasn't married. I can't wait till that truth come out. They just not getting to the truth that Andrew Berry did not give Deshaun that contract. You know, it's people that still believe that foolishness and Haslam let him think it. Andrew Berry's crazy for letting Haslam use him like a footstool and blaming him and taking the blame for that bullshit. That was Haslam's idea. And look what he got in return. A damn stadium. And he didn't win shit. It said when the Falcons won, the Buccaneers were knocked out, even though they won as well. Carolina Panthers needed the Falcons to win so they can clinch political games going on. Right. And pay attention to the black quarterback and who moving up and who's not available. I think CJ Stroud is the only one in his conference that's black. Remember last year, it was 3 black quarterbacks and 1 white one. You saw a lot of manipulation this year to make sure that did not repeat. I do not. There's a lot of people that don't believe that field goal was missed accidentally. Understand this. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback in Pittsburgh. They did everything imaginable to get Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh to block Shedeur. So were they really going to let Lamar Jackson through? No. And if they did, they would have knocked him out at the next round. What happened to Green Bay? Did you see what happened to Jordan Love? Did you see what happened to Bryce Young in this last game? Did you see how they hit him? But look at how Myles Garrett went to sack Joe Burrow. He just touched him. You see? You see how they roughed up Shedeur? How they roughed up Bryce Young? But were gentle with Joe Burrow? Did you see anybody rough up Aaron Rodgers last night? Did you see anybody rough up Lamar Jackson? I watched Lamar Jackson get sacked. You saw it. Do you recall Aaron Rodgers being roughed up? Like they trying to knock his block off. Let me know if you saw it. It said, yes, ma'am. All that like Minnesota going on. Yep, Minnesota too. Yep. It say slick stuff still in place. Absolutely. Dirtiest business ever. It is. I like you. I have never seen business be carried out in such a disgustingly, openly racist manner to the point where they know where they can push the envelope and how it is I can only fire 2 black GMs this year and I'm going to get Andrew Berry next year. So the fans don't get upset. And it's only when the fans have something to say, do they do what's right? So what does that mean for the fans? You better come on with it. You better go rest your voice and get ready. You better rest your voice and get ready. Because they're going to run the same bullshit back. Because see, Andrew Berry devalued Shedeur early on, and then he was non-committal today. So they're going to do the same thing, and there's never a conversation about Shedeur being traded. And Andrew Berry said when Shedeur came in on day 3, when they drafted him, the alternative use for the selection, we know Shedeur is going to outproduce his draft stock. So you're going to trade him then, right? Because we know you're not committed to him. So you're going to trade him because to sit up here and suggest that he's not a QB1 is more of the same collusion from the draft. And Andrew Berry, if you want to put all that on your shoulders, then you're going to catch this heat, sir. You will catch this heat, sir. Now, you did bring in a good rookie class, but the value of Shedeur will not save you. You're not going to get saved by being out here devaluing Shedeur Sanders. We know what he is. We know what the NFL did in the draft, and we saw what happened in Cleveland, and Stefanski's gone. So if you want to be the one to take it on knowing they're going to fire you next, you're going to catch this heat, sir. You're going to catch the heat, and you probably going to catch the criminality. Somebody going to get it because it ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening. It's that they still will not commit to Shedeur. Facts, Mike. It's that as QB1. He needs out of Cleveland, fresh start. It said, watch how the Cleveland media handles Kevin firing, blaming Berry and Shedeur. They can't blame Shedeur. Shit. They going to blame Andrew Berry because they want him to be fired. It's crazy how they want Andrew Berry, who put together a stellar rookie class, to be fired with Stefanski because the white guy can't be fired by himself. Yes, the hell he can. Stefanski made choices. And that's probably why they're going to go out here and find him another job and watch that shit blow up over there. Bookmark this and come right back here when it blow up over there. He better go over there and act like he know how to coach, and he took his brain out and put in one that's not racially biased. Because one thing about racists, they don't ever change. They don't change. They go from job to job to job being racist because their hearts are racist. That's where it starts. So good luck, whoever. The next stop on his legal liability tour is whoever team want to take him on. I agree. They talking spicy about Shedeur. I pray he go to Miami or just get out of this dirty league. Let's talk about Shedeur switching to baseball. All right. So y'all know my theory. If you're a black athlete and you played multi-sports, just like I campaign for these black quarterbacks to go back to school, I have already campaigned for multi-sport athletes who are black that played multiple sports to go play a different sport. If you a quarterback and you want to come out of college as a quarterback, that's your ceiling. That is your ceiling. And you better go switch to baseball or switch to soccer or whatever the hell else you can play. NFL Africa exists. There's only one black kicker in this league. Y'all know that ain't right. But they want to get the bodies that get the CTE. That's what they take from NFL Africa. They celebrated, or somebody, I think Afro Ballers celebrated a quarterback that's black with one parent that's African, but that was backing up Pat Mahomes. I'm like, after you got Pat Mahomes hurt, this is what you want to do? But NFL Africa exists, and there's only one black kicker in the NFL. What the hell does that tell you when soccer is the first sport over there? Okay, they want to keep the numbers from black, don't care where you from increasing, unless like Jerry Judy, you're going to sell out your people. Absolutely. You see, Njoku wasn't having that. He's Nigerian. He made sure to welcome Shedeur, and look at how they treated him. Y'all saw what happened with Tony Brown when he showed compassion and support for Shedeur. Y'all saw what happened to Wyatt Teller, Flacco. Because we don't want you. We don't value Shedeur. That's why they left Stefanski in place till the end. They just moved everybody else out the way. I guess they thought they were going to get him injured. So Shedeur got another fight on his head. So what he need to go do is heal from this one first. And understand what it is when you come back. Because clearly Jerry Judy kept sitting next to him to try to make him believe that Shedeur could trust him. And obviously could not. So they're going to be playing in your face when you get back too, especially if he work over there. Especially if Tommy Reese is still over there. Nothing has changed. They out here right now looking for Stefanski 2.0. And they'll go get a black quarterback for a year and set him up to fail. Let's see what God does. Shout out to DJ Jones. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. It said black excellence, including 20 million followers and counting all day. It said, I don't know what that evil Kevin Stefanski said to Shedeur during that meeting, but you see Shedeur's spirit is tested again. Yeah, that's straight evil, bro. And I don't know what they talked about in the meeting, but I will tell you this. Stefanski didn't even mention Shedeur in his final press conference. He didn't. He credited the kicker. He credited Myles Garrett, but he did not even. He credited the other players on defense. He never said anything about Shedeur marching the drive down the field because he didn't get his weight. And all of the people that still work there from Kevin Stefanski's regime will be problematic next year, including Tommy Reese. He need to be fired too. That's why the owner got to go. That's really what it is. We'll see what guys say because, I mean, the fact that we are all aware of this, just pay attention. It said, I know that's right. It wouldn't say nothing about how good he was. Not answering is answering the question. I totally agree, Sylvia. I totally agree. It said we spent $1.7 trillion outside of our communities. It's time we support ourselves. I said these guys need to start their own league. They got the talent. It said, once we bet on ourselves, nothing has the power. We already bet on ourselves before. And what happened? It's called integration. That's exactly what happened. There was a black football league. There was a black baseball league. And the numbers were vast and they were high. And what happened? Oh, we want to be nice to you just to dismantle it all. And now look at how many black African Americans play baseball. How many is it? 2, 3? Is it 1? And the NFL invited Ken Griffey Jr. over to be like a photographer like they did Simone Biles. All the while, they discriminate against Shedeur Sanders and every other black quarterback out here. You see, that's what you got to look out for. Oh, we not racist. We invited Simone Biles to take pictures. We invited 50 Cent to have a, I guess you could say a gallery and a restaurant and a lounge. Yeah, because he got $34 million Instagram followers. So you want him to bring your fans, his fans who are black, but you want to still discriminate against black quarterbacks. I told you earlier, that ain't going to work. These people are our cousins. I don't give a damn if we show up at the same family reunion or not. We all know why we're here. And we all know we were all taken from the same place. No need to do 23andMe if you black. You know where the hell you from. That's why they went bankrupt. God damn it. You know from. Exactly. Do you think you started? Exactly. Do you think you started the moment they prank called him? Right. It said, what was that start? Because I know his mental had to be. It said he just built different. Yeah, God came to him before the draft, basically, and covered him and covered his arms around him and was like, look, I'm gonna need to talk to you. That's why he started having the dreams he had. Those are visions, they're not dreams. It's different. He has a discerning spirit, but he has to go and he has to rest and pull your mama close and give your daddy a listen later on. I get it. You don't want to be coached right now. That's how you know. That's how you know he's been affected. He's not like that. And he probably feeling some type of way because didn't nobody help him and on the inside. But he gonna carry that over to the outside. And somebody's family might come along and do something, and he's still gonna feel some type of way. I felt like his mom did everything she could, and I think his dad showed up for support. I don't know why he wasn't there on the last game, and I felt like he should have been. But at the same time, I don't have nothing to do with that. That's my opinion. But his mom was right there, and I felt like he just felt like, oh, you're just the mom. No, don't do that, Shedeur. Don't do that at all. Because she put her voice out there, and I respect her for that. Because I would have did the same thing. Knowing me, I probably would have been looking for Kevin Stefanski at Costco. I ain't gonna even lie to you. Why lie? Hurt my child like that? Shit. Bro, I can't even fathom it. It make me just upset thinking about my own. Hey, I ain't got that much time left, so fuck it. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. They told me I had 5 tumors. Fuck it. Let me just take it all out. It's just what it is. That's just what it is. I mean, I don't. They said I did, but I don't. But I mean, if you say that it is true, my kids, I'm gonna be willing to sacrifice myself. I'm just gonna put it out there. Because it is unbearable for somebody to abuse your own children. Oh, Lord have mercy. I can't imagine my kids being at daycare at school and somebody losing their goddamn mind. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So for like Bucky, I don't know how he did it. Because I'm pretty sure I would have threw the camera down and tried to jump on Stefanski at some point. Bucky did really well. Bucky did really well. And we didn't even think he was there on the last game. And he was right there. I saw him in the tunnel. I saw him on the sideline, but we didn't, and if Coach Prime was there, we didn't get to see him, and maybe he just stayed off the camera. I don't know. But Coach Prime got to gear himself up to be somewhere where they don't want him to be anymore. I'm talking about CU. And Shador got to prepare his mind. First, he got to heal from the trauma and the abuse. And then he got to rest. And he got to heal, and he got to rest, and he got to come back and prepare for it all over again. They already let you know through Andrew Berry's press conference. They are not committed to Shedeur. And the media is going to pounce on him and talk about the Manning kid and every other kid that could be drafted to replace him. So they're going to start the same BS all over again. And that's why he needs to be traded. But the NFL probably going to leave him right there because they themselves do not value Shedeur Sanders, because look at how the NFL abused Shedeur Sanders in the draft. They went far beyond devaluing him. And he was number 17 of 32. So that's how you feel about the majority of black starting quarterbacks. You're going to try to ruin them so they can no longer breathe or be sane. That's what it's given. Desperation. It's an all-out assault on black quarterbacks in the NFL. Absolutely. Including the ones coming into the draft. They already plotting on you. They're already plotting on you. It said maybe he was supposed to throw the game. I don't know, but they left him there for a reason. And as you can see, Jerry Jeudy threw the game, and they put Jerry Jeudy in there. It said he's a snake part of a dirty system. I agree. I love myself better than I love myself. I know that's right. I like that. I love myself better than I love myself. Hey, everyone, late for the party. First day back to work. Okay, Sharon. Yeah, today is what? The 5th? Okay. It says Shedeur with his Netflix deal will not need to sue them. It will be available to over 100 million to watch. What Netflix deal? I haven't heard about a Netflix deal, Echo. I know Coach Prime has a Netflix documentary. And I would imagine in Coach Prime's Netflix documentary that's coming out, I would imagine they're going to talk about Shedeur, the draft, what Coach Prime went through this summer. I'm pretty sure they're going to touch on that. But I didn't know Shedeur had a Netflix documentary. 279 people hit the like button for me, please. Thank you. It said a hero ain't nothing but a sandwich. It says since 2001 and even before, black quarterbacks are way ahead of their time. Right. They just not appreciated. They're not in a friendly environment. The Cleveland environment was extremely hostile towards Shedeur Sanders. You could see it from the outside looking in. Remember during the summer, he wouldn't even do this because they were trying to suppress him, right? So it probably feels some type of way because he got on his own hat, right? Even though other players can wear whatever they want to wear, but they don't want Shedeur to promote himself because why? They worked avidly to suppress him. He should be the first one traded, but they don't seem like they want to do that. They want to continue on with suppressing his career, suppressing his athleticism. You don't think the Browns knew going into the 2025 draft that they needed O-line? They knew that in 2024. Andrew Berry's press conference at the same time last year, I already played it. He talked about how embarrassing it was to only win 3 games. You should still be embarrassed. How many did you win? And you won the bulk of them with Shador, right? But you can't commit to Shador. To hell with you. To hell with you. We're going to see what guys say about that. Thank you, Sharon. It said Coach Prime Post said it all. The one that said, thank you, God. Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe all the talk about Mendoza and Dante made it to the locker room and was somehow used to taunt him. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And the media, watch what get ready to happen with the media. See, this is what happened to Cam in Tennessee. You know, Cam Callahan got fired. They turned on Cam. Why you had Cam when Callahan was 1-5 the year before? They wanted Callahan to do what Stefanski was doing because they knew Callahan, Stefanski, and Daboll were 3 of a kind. And Callahan got fired. Daboll got fired. Now Stefanski got fired. Andrew Berry keeps his job. So I guess to calm everybody down, we gonna fire Raheem Morris and his GM. What the hell did the GM do? He successfully drafted Michael Penix Jr. that they don't want to win with. Just like Baltimore don't want to win with Lamar. That's proven. But it's up to these quarterbacks to realize that and move accordingly. And the ones coming out, pay attention and move wisely. If you have eligibility, stay in school. The only one is Trinidad Shambliss because I think they try to play with him. They refuse to grant him. They refuse to make a decision on his waiver to go back to school, but they gave Diego Pavia a 7th year. They gave a player drafted by the NBA. The NCAA gave him the right to come back to college after he was drafted into a professional league. But Trinidad Shambliss, their ruling has been delayed. He's not asking for what they have asked for. He's asking for a 6-year because he was a COVID student. That should be a slam dunk. Why they playing around with his waiver? Why they delaying with the portal being open? With Ole Miss players jumping out the portal? It's going to be too late for him to go to LSU? Is that what it is? Or are you trying to force him to come out this year so he don't compete with the Manning kid next year? Either way, they are manipulating Trinidad Shambliss movement, which is collusion. The NCAA. And they doing the same damn thing to a black quarterback that the NFL does. So it tells you they're working together. And that's what happened to Shedeur on the Heisman stage. They colluded against him. These bots, these votes by the media are bought and paid for. There's no integrity in MVP when Lamar is the best and you give it to Josh Allen because you don't want Lamar to get his 3rd MVP faster than Tom Brady got his because you don't want to talk about Lamar Jackson in the same manner in which you praise and celebrate Tom Brady. Lamar Jackson is the GOAT. After that game last night, shame on Baltimore for trying to keep him in the goddamn pocket because they're trying to suppress the athleticism of the black quarterback and dumb down the league with the check downs, which is why you saw them try to turn Shedeur into a check down king. To ask Shedeur to stay in the pocket is criminal when you have a negligent O-line and the head coach refuses to make adjustments with the healthy players that were brought in. Andrew Berry covered himself this year, but he's going to have to shed his melanin to be around next year. It said, kind of made me mad when Shedeur said Kev was tough, because I can only imagine how he talked to Shedeur. Let me tell you what Shedeur said, and I put this on X, and a lot of people agree. Shedeur was saying that he was being abused. That's and all he could say was tough. And we all saw him be abused. All he could say was tough. And he also talked about treating each other like humans, because he was being dehumanized. That's exactly what happened. And that's why I say the media have to stop trying to back these athletes into a corner. Notice they only tried to pin down Myles Garrett. They only tried to pin down Denzel Ward. They only tried to pin down Shador. Why didn't they ask Dylan nothing? Why didn't they ask Dylan? That would be the perfect person to ask. No, you want to get leverage and retaliate against Myles Garrett. You want to get leverage and retaliate again against Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. You want to get leverage so you can make Shador's life a living hell again next year. Why you don't go and get Dylan and ask him about Stefanski? Why you didn't ask Bailey Zapp about Stefanski? Why you didn't ask Carson Schlesinger about Stefanski? I would have had more respect for you if you asked the white players, because that's the ones he liked. Somebody said, you have been on Kevin Stefanski's AZZ all season. Take your season. Take your victory lap. I need some more people gone. I need this virus to spread over to Baltimore. So you're probably going to be talking about that too. I'm like, it's time. Wake on up here. It's time. It's time. It's time. I'm like, because the evidence of that game last night was absolutely crazy. You know it was bad when he wouldn't even say his name. Right. He was dehumanizing Shador. It said, yes, Miss Nola, lead the NFL to the mountaintop. Lead their ass off a goddamn cliff. Because I want these players to thought they own league any goddamn way. Because they're not respected. They're not appreciated. Race Norman is still alive and well, apparently. Especially when you advocate for somebody like Stefanski that can't even say the black quarterback name and dehumanize the one before him. That's obvious what's happening here. All of that incompetence on the field, yet they were allowed to play. Yet every week, Shedeur was devalued. Right. And what did Denzel Ward say? Denzel Ward said, we need a coach that's going to hold us accountable. They tried to pin him down to say that Stefanski wasn't holding people accountable. That's why I said, players that go to the mic, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Stop answering these people's questions when they trying to get you your contract blown up. Go practice some canned responses. And that's all they get. You don't have to answer these questions. You have to be available. That's it. I haven't thought about it like that. Well, what do you think? Kevin Stefanski was rude to the goddamn media. I'm surprised he wasn't fired earlier. He refused to be transparent. He's not a coach. And he's not a nice person. And for the people that say he's nice and want to see him go to dinner with him, I don't even know what they was holding on to other than his damn racism, because there was nothing else there. There was no coaching there. It was all strategic manipulation to suppress Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback, to suppress winning. They got Dylan so they could lose. Talk about that. You didn't even put the team in a position to win because you went and got people that would lose. That's what you did on the O-line. That's what you did with the receivers. That's why Carson Schlesinger gets played bloody and be a hero. But Hal Fanning Jr. got to go sit down. Because he's an asset to Shedeur Sanders as a quarterback. We will only get the truth. From who? Nothing but the truth. That's what it is. It's that a great coach build around and increase the skill set of the QB talent. Right. Stefanski had a system and he wanted to plug the black quarterbacks in it, and knowing it wouldn't work, knowing he was suppressing the athleticism, knowing he was suppressing the win. That don't make no sense. And for him to allow that and to stand up for Stefanski before he was fired and say, well, yeah, you know, he did good work for us. No, the hell he didn't. And he's not a nice person. And it's disgusting that people are clinging on to him because he was racist towards Shedeur and towards Deshaun and towards Jameis. And I don't give a damn if you go get Jameis and his happy-go-lucky self say all these things that you want to hear. He was abusive. And it's too many people that took pleasure in Stefanski being abusive. And you better side-eye everybody that's crying about Stefanski being fired and want Andrew Berry fired because why the black guy get to get their job? You know what they scared of? You know what they actually scared of? They scared of multiple black people running teams and being successful. Because race norm says that black people can't be successful because they're dumber than white people. That's what they're afraid of. Oh, Andrew Berry gonna get to stay. So you value black people. That's why they took pleasure in watching Deshaun Kaiser go 0-16. Because race norm says black people are dumber and can't be quarterbacks. Therefore, he won 0 games. And they watched that happen. They didn't call for Haslam to be fired then. Stefanski wasn't even there yet. So it was toxic before he got there, which means when they hired him, that's why nobody else was interested in him because he's not a coach. He describes himself as a servant leader to the Cleveland Browns. And what exactly are you a servant to? White supremacy? Don't tiptoe around it. And he tried to tell you. He tried to tell you, we're going to put him down. Shedeur goes on to get sacked excessively versus the Rams. When I heard that, I damn near had whiplash. I said, excuse me? What the hell are we doing here? The goal was to suppress Shedeur, just like the goal in the draft was to devalue the number 17th black starting quarterback. And why they want to suppress Shedeur going forward? Because he is good. That's why these kids need to take their talent elsewhere. Lamar Jackson is a beast. And yeah, he should have won that 3rd MVP. They asking him about retiring. Lamar said, I'm only 28. What the hell? They want him to go. And tonight we're going to talk about some of these conversations that are being had about Shedeur and Lamar being unmarketable. Somebody had the audacity to say that Lamar, because he wore a grill, is not marketable. I just saw Lamar with a suit and some glasses on. That's an excuse. Because when you went to Africa, you had an excuse why you did that. And they ain't have no grills. And you trying to put Shedeur in the same conversation and say he's not marketable. How do you market Lamar? How do you market Shedeur? Shedeur grew up wealthy, so shut the hell up. It just proves that when it's somebody black and you want to suppress them, you'll say anything. Because you went to Africa and said they were savages. How the hell did you know? You wasn't even over there. But in fact, they weren't. You went to suppress them too and take their resources. And now that black people over here, you don't want them to unite. Just like in slavery, you didn't want them to talk to each other. You didn't want them to celebrate each other. You didn't want them to have anything. You didn't want them to have any type of identity other than who you wanted them to be. And that's what you tried to do with Shedeur. You tried to break him down to nothing. So you think you can rebuild him into the quarterback you want him to be. One that dates white women, and then you're going to use the white woman against him. Hell no. Any quarterback that celebrates their blackness is not appreciated in this league. Except for maybe Jordan Love. And where is he right now? Okay. Even with his mama being white. Because he wears stitch braids. Because he wears his hair like he appreciates himself. It's funny. I watched a defensive player with stitch braids. They don't say nothing about that. Because they don't value them anyway. But when you're a black quarterback, we want you to walk and talk and do this. The hell with you. They get to be who they are. You drafted them. So you need to respect them as human beings that they choose to be. If you don't have a goddamn dress code, shut the hell up. And that's the fight the NFL going to face going forward. Trying to suppress these black quarterbacks and strip them of their damn blackness. And because you can't do that successfully, because they choose to wear their hair what they call it, stitch braids, because they refuse to go with a damn low fade. You didn't like the ones that went with the low fade because they was too black. So it don't matter if they too light, too dark, stitch braids, low fade. You don't like black quarterbacks. So trying to make them ship shape into some shit that you can appreciate when you don't appreciate shit about them because you can't deny the fact that they are black. You either stop drafting fucking black quarterbacks, God damn it, or you gonna draft them and you gonna respect them. And it will be 17 to 18 or 19, 20, because this is a competitive sport league built on competition, and the fans got something to say. We are not paying for your racial politics. And you cannot ignore the black fans, the brown fans, and the white fans who want to see football and not your goddamn racism. That's some personal shit you need to deal with on your personal time and not with our damn money. That's why I said this the goddamn final frontier, because this shit gonna blow the hell up or they gonna start doing right. There is no other option. You have tried everything. Banning black quarterbacks, switching them off to wide receivers, switching them off to running backs, switching them off to cornerbacks, stacking them as the QB 2, 3, and 4. Then they still make it to the front with injuries to the QB 1. And now that they at 16, 17 black quarterbacks with Shedeur. And you did Shedeur the dirtiest because he was number 17. And you want to make Milrose seem like he invisible. And now you want to talk about Dante Moore, Trinidad Shamblers. To hell with y'all. You already plotting on them. And you think we're going to be silent about it while you gravitate and assemble black people towards you. Hell no. We're not dumb, and we do it together, and you know this. And you're going to learn how expensive racism is if you don't start doing the right thing and showing these black quarterbacks some respect. This shit has been going on for 120 goddamn years, and you have tried everything. And Lamar still proved to be successful, although Baltimore didn't want to win. Shador still won, although the Browns wanted to lose. Cam Ward still won, even though the Titans didn't want to win with him. You don't want to win with black quarterbacks, stop drafting them, and they're going to go off and start their own league, and that's what you don't want. You're trying to control everything. All you need to control is yourself and your goddamn racism. These are men. And you're trying to emasculate them and strip them of their blackness and force them to not know who they are, to play a goddamn game that you don't even respect. It makes no sense to want to own a team, but you don't like black people. You don't like black people, then you can't own a sports club filled with black people. And you can try to turn it all white if that's what you want to do. But you know you're going to lose some fans because you know the athleticism is what makes the game exciting. It's corrupt. It's absolutely corrupt. They can't stand Jay Daniels. Look at Jalen Hurts. They don't want him to go back to the Super Bowl. Well, I thought the goal was to get there. I didn't know it was a limit on how many times black quarterbacks could go. I had no idea. Not coincidence Pat Mahomes is hurt. Not a coincidence they started all kind of mess within the Eagles organization. No coincidence that Saquon Barkley was for years in New York. It got out and went to Philly and won like that. Baker Mayfield went in Tampa, and they tried to suppress them too. I guess they want to fire Ty Bowles now. Talking about we don't think Jada Daniels is reliable. You should never had your goddamn quarterback out there in the first place because you didn't value him and you didn't want him to get back to the championship 2 years in a row because it don't fit your little race norm and bullshit. That's the whole problem right there. The mentality of this league. And they seemingly go out and allow owners to come in with the same mentality, who then hire coaches with the same mentality, all to exercise racial politics rather than preserve the integrity of competitive American football. They so far away from that agenda that it's all out war happening here. You get the hell out of here. The days of staying in the pocket are really over. Catch up to the supreme talent. Right. And they want Lamar to stay in the pocket. They want Shedeur to stay in the pocket. Tell it. They want Cam Ward to stay in the pocket. That's absolutely crazy. Our lives are being exposed. Absolutely. It's that they just totally destroyed Justin Fields. Right. And want to blame Justin Fields when he should actually sue the goddamn Chicago Bears for workplace negligence and letting him be sacked excessively. Black quarterbacks are not the majority of quarterbacks, but they are the majority of quarterbacks sacked excessively. Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud, Justin Fields, Geno Smith. Geno Smith said, they wrote me off, but I ain't right back. They took him from a team where he had won, had the same record as Sam Darnold, put Sam Darnold in his place, and sent him to Vegas to lose under 75-year-old Pete Carroll. To block Shedeur, which is why they drafted Ashton Jeanty in the first round. They do not value running backs, especially if they're black. That has already been said out loud. Do you think Andrew Berry might want to hire Antonio Pierce? If you're asking me if they're going to posture by hiring a black quarterback, it's possible because the pressure is on. They did not want to fire Stefanski. That should be obvious to you. So if I had to posture and get rid of him and find him another job, I might need to keep posturing, which is why Barry still got a job. Barry still got a job. People talk about how close they are. I said, oh, so you're telling me that Barry just stood silently while Stefanski abused Shedeur. And Barry stood silently and didn't do shit while Stefanski tore down everything he built. That's what you're telling me. Just like Andrew Berry told us, nobody else wanted to hire Stefanski. And he didn't get the job the first time. And the Giants didn't want to hire him either. But Pat Schumer was behind that. So once again, how the hell did Pat Schumer get to Colorado to disrupt what Coach Prime had going on? You see how they be working together? You see how they work together? Trying to suppress the Sanders football legacy because Shedeur is a black quarterback. Did we talk about the Hayward family last night? I was like, oh, they brothers? And y'all said, yeah, that's Iron Haywood's son. They celebrate them, but they kicked out Shiloh. And how many players got spit on or hit on after Shiloh? They said the game is violent. If the game is violent, then I have emotions, right? Shiloh was baited into that. You think it was a coincidence? It was a white tight end? No. Neither was Mark Andrews. Neither was 82. Neither was 86. Neither was the one in the Celebration Bowl at Jackson State. None of it is a coincidence. None of it. None of it is a coincidence. Not a coincidence who tried to crush Shador's hands. They protected Blake Whiteheart and didn't protect Shedeur. Even after that, in the next game, tried to ruin Shedeur through this last game. And Jerry Jeudy takes to the internet thinking people going to be laughing with him. They tore him down to shreds. He ruined his own career when Jerry Jeudy could have went out there and had a fantabulous year, but he chose not to. He chose to lead the league and drop passes again. He chose to further their agenda against black quarterbacks than protect somebody that looked like him or protect his own reputation. He gonna pay for that. Karma always knows where your ad is and has no expiration date. And I put it in his comments. It's cool because karma has no expiration date. And the way they do black people in this league dirty, okay, it's just a matter of time. They're gonna blame you. They gonna blame. It said Kyler Murray. Yep, Kyler Murray is colluded against because why? Kyler Murray, the Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. What did they do? The three of them were a part of the collusion case that they talked about. That the verdict came out in January that the NFL was found guilty of colluding against the quarterbacks because they gave Deshaun $230 million, but wouldn't give these guys. And there's evidence on how the owners went and got the new owner of the Denver Broncos, who wanted to give Russell Wilson his contract extension 2 years early to retain him, which is what you do when somebody's talented. You retain talent. You don't wait to the last minute to retain your best people. And the owners came and told the new owner of Walmart, basically, you can't do that. I'm like, you mean to tell me that the owner of Walmart owns the Broncos and the other owners who've been around too goddamn long told him, you can't give Russell Wilson that kind of money because the rest of them gonna want it too. It's documented. And Russell Wilson gave up his no trade clause to go to Denver, and they pulled the bait and switch on him, and he lost $81 million in guarantees. That is why you saw Sean Payton retaliate against Russell Wilson. That's why Kyler Murray was retaliated against, and they put in his contract he has to study and watch film for 4 hours a day. Warren Moon said that was racist, but he couldn't see the racism with Shedeur the draft. I'm like, all you got to do is look into the mirror and remember why the hell it is you went to Canada in the first place. You was the guy that had the low fade and talked a certain way. It was with the white women, and they still devalued you. So what the hell are you talking about? The root of the problem is still in place. Facts. It said the way Barrett talked about him, I must let my children know, and how his daughter lost so much now he is gone. It said, yeah, 2.0 is coming, and I want Shador out. It said you didn't hear the violins when Carr got let go. Right. Absolutely. It said, did you see all of the powers that be at the Atlanta's coach press conference? He should have known something was fishy. Right. They had already figured that out. And again, I'm going to tell you what the owner of the Falcons does. He runs out and does all of this that's right, that's a tax write-off for HBCUs while discriminating against Michael Penix Jr.'s face and also the GM and playing Raheem Morris like a fiddle. Raheem Morris is crazy because I would sue your ass. First of all, you went and got him after the GM picked Michael Penix Jr. and the owner goes and gets Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is abysmal. But it's Raheem Morris' fault. But he telling Raheem Morris, I'm gonna get Kirk Cousins, but I'm gonna let you decide who to start. You told him who to start. So he was dumb and he listened. I never liked Raheem Morris. I ain't even cutting for him. But what they did is wrong. They played him like a box of Cracker Jacks. They always knew they was gonna fire him when they forced him to use Kirk Cousins, who ain't good. The irony of the fans saying we shouldn't have lost to the Jets. Y'all lost with Kirk Cousins. You was gonna lose anyway. That was the plan. So they could fire them too. There's no reason to fire the GM. Why you fire the GM? Because he drafted Michael Penix Jr., who's black, and you don't want him to draft Dante Moore. You don't want him to draft whoever the hell else is coming out that's black. Because the numbers are starting to dwindle. Thank God. They moving him out the way before the goddamn draft. Just like they moved Chris Geyer out the way before the trade deadline. They fired Chris Geyer on October 31st. The trade deadline was November 4th. They moved him out the way so he couldn't trade for Shedeur. Tell me I'm wrong. That's why they refused to bench Tua until now. Because if Tua's bench, I can get Shedeur. And Andrew Barrett and Chris Geyer, it is not a coincidence that 2 weeks ago, the Browns were talking about bringing in Chris Geyer for senior leadership. I'm like, wow. I had a members-only podcast about it. I had a members-only video. Shedeur said it to Miami, have a theory. It was about Chris Geyer. I looked at when Shiloh said he was saving space for Shedeur, October 17th. I looked at when Chris Geyer was fired, October 31st. I looked at when Browns held quarterback tryouts for an undrafted free agent out of Memphis. And Shedeur had a back injury, and Stefanski refused to let him play, and Chris Geyer got fired before the trade deadline. There's no coincidences here. Stopping black GMs from drafting black talent. What is the guy's name? Sashi Brown, the black Harvard grad, was fired by Jimmy Haslam so he don't draft Lamar Jackson. So Terry Fontenot got fired so he don't draft Dante Moore or nobody else. That's why he got fired, because that don't make no sense. And Raheem got set up from the jump when they forced him to play Kirk Cousins and make the forced him to lose with Kirk Cousins. And Fontenot had to come out here and clean it up. And then they started Michael Penix Jr. in year 2. Wasted his rookie season. Just like they wasted Shedeur's. Well, most of it. Not all of it. Shedeur still won when they lost, just like all the other black quarterbacks I mentioned. These teams seek to hold back these black quarterbacks and suppress them and restrict them. And somehow in a game, Lamar Jackson looked like the GOAT while the Ravens lost. Same thing happened with Shador. Stefanski tried everything to lose, and Shador marched that team down the field. Thank God his kicker made it. But they wanted Stefanski to win another game. Because I believe overnight they was trying real hard to try to find a way to keep him, but they was just finding him another job. He should have been fired after Callahan and before that. I have said that multiple times. Haslam there's no excuses. He don't get a pass. And I have also said that multiple times. They coming for him next. They are going to be coming for Haslam to sell that team if he want to bring in a Kevin Stefanski 2.0 and devalue Shedeur, because he clearly refuses to trade Shedeur, like he refused to allow Deshaun to play. And all he gonna try to do is play Shedeur against Deshaun and whatever black quarterback Andrew Berry finna go out here and get. Whether he's a veteran or a rookie, it don't matter. They want to mess up Shedeur's second season. They want to mess up his third season. They want to mess up his fourth season. They think they have Shedeur buried like they have Jalen Milroe buried. But just in plain sight, where Shedeur is concerned. Milroe is hidden. I agree about the coaches. The way the league is and the culture of the Browns organization, they may just be removing Stefanski, replacing him with another coach that understands the assignment. That's exactly what they're doing. Don't ever get it twisted that ain't what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. If they found him another job, they already found they 2.0 Stefanski. That's why they're not committed to Shedeur, because they're going to run it back again. And they stupid enough to think we dumb. And that's their shortcoming. Your shortcoming is thinking your fans are dumb. But what happened this year? How many new fans showed up on the Browns' doorstep and they hated it? And this is why. They wanted to keep doing to black quarterbacks what they've been doing to black quarterbacks, abusing them. They want to keep abusing Deshaun. They don't want Deshaun to play because it's going to prove the same thing it proves that Baker Mayfield left, that Flacco left, that Shedeur is going to leave. Instead of suing these damn leagues, sue the goddamn franchise. Sue the team individually if you want some results. That's what you need to do, because that's who is directly responsible for abusing, restricting, suppressing, devaluing, and discriminating against black quarterbacks, these goddamn teams. Sue them individually. The commission is just a shield to limit their liability. Apparently, suppressing is the direction. That's it. That is really it. It said, did anyone hear A.B. Presser? Yeah, I heard it. He didn't commit to Shedeur. He made sure you know they weren't committed to Shedeur. And he gonna get it. He sure is. Fans deserve better. Absolutely. Stefanski to the Falcons, reuniting with Kirk Cousins and their offensive coordinator. The Falcons offensive coordinator ain't nobody but Pat Schumer. And you might be right about that, because they're going to find somewhere here. And I'm going to tell you something. They sent him to Atlanta, and Michael Penix Jr. is the quarterback, and they think they're going to do to Michael Penix Jr. what they did to Shedeur in Atlanta. Baby, expect a damn volcano to erupt, because the Falcons fans might not have a clue as to what the hell is happening right now. And I don't think they do. And I have already talked to like a lot of their communities. I told them the Falcons don't want to win with Michael Penix Jr. And it should make you look back at Michael Vick. See, they don't want that. That's why they keep giving all that money to HBCUs. That ain't nothing but a tax. Why they actively discriminating and holding back black quarterbacks. No. So send him over there. I dare you to do it, because I already know how that story gonna end. Atlanta ain't Cleveland. They'll chew him up and spit him out. It said they care more about an animal than a human being. That's why Michael Vick went to jail and Roethlisberger got a slap on the wrist. Facts. Same thing with Brett Favre. They didn't even care about a human being being SA, but they cared about a dog. I ain't saying none of it's right. But why you give Roethlisberger a pass? Why you give Justin Tucker a pass, but you want to go at Deshaun Watson? I read what the hell Justin Tucker did. That was disgusting. And I know for a fact them women came forward. Did nobody come forward about Deshaun? Not one of them. They got found. And I told y'all, Deshaun wasn't the only one. I said it multiple times. I said it multiple times. They wanted to protect the white married players, and they still around. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't wait to Deshaun tell his story. It's that who wants Kevin Elementary playbook? Nobody. Lamar is him. They are jealous of these players. I think they are. I think it's not just that they jealous. They're threatened by these black quarterbacks being so successful because the NFL has maintained race norming since the plantation, the late 1800s. How is it that we maintained for 120 years that black NFL players are dumber than whites? But here it is, black starting quarterbacks are becoming the majority at 17, 18, 19, and 20, with Shedeur at 17, Milroe at 18, Lenore Sellers at 19, Dante Moore at 20, Trinidad Shambliss at 21. I can go on. How is that possible? So what do I have to do? I have to scurry to turn the athleticism into a check down quarterback. Who's going first? You think it's a coincidence people are excited about watching a check down king? That's what they want Tyler Shaw to be? Mendoza is a check down king. He averages 13 yards per pass. He is better than Dylan. Mendoza is who they want Tyler Shaw to be. So you think they're going to draft Dante Moore, who got a deep ball and athleticism, and turn him into a check down king? Why do you think these guys going back to school? They finally see it. I'm so thrilled. I need Dante to see it and move accordingly. I need Trinidad. I need God to be on his side and get him wherever the hell he need to be, whether it's the draft this year or the draft next year or go back to school. I don't know what is best for him, but he is a target. Have y'all seen Trinidad Shambliss play football? Please go watch Ole Miss versus Georgia. And then go watch Lamar Jackson versus the Steelers. And whatever game Shador put up 393 yards, go watch that one. It said they must create their own league. It said the NFL does not want to give up their plantation mentality. So I say let them have it. That's what I say. I put the old and in with the new. Right. That's why I said there's a tug of war happening here. I said after the draft, I said, okay, the NFL is in a tug of war. I said, I knew coming into the 25 draft, because you pay attention to what has been happening since Michael Vick, even Cam Ward said it. White quarterbacks are becoming the minority. I meant starters. He might be talking overall, but I meant starters. And I showed you, I made the little chart, and I showed you how they had black quarterbacks stacked together. And if they were spread out, they would already be 22, 23, 24, 25 black starting quarterbacks. That's why when they benched Kyler Murray, the first thing people said about Jacoby Brissett was what? Damn, he's a QB1. They have black QB1s stacked behind black QB1s. So there's not 17, 18, 19, 20. If they were spread out with who's out there right now, there's already the majority of the starters are black. They just have black QB1s stacked behind black QB1s. But there's no black quarterbacks in Minnesota. I think they just got one. But he at the 4. And they did that because there were no black quarterbacks in Minnesota. But you got all these black quarterbacks stacked together in New York, in Washington. They had them stacked together in Philly, but they cut Dorian Thompson-Robinson. It's a whole lot of people finna be cut going into next year. All them practice squads and 3s and 4s, they about to get cut because they already moved them to the practice squad. All they gonna do is bring them back and cut them. How many black quarterbacks San Francisco got? Best believe Mac Jones gonna get somebody's job. I don't know who he's gonna be, but he might end up in Cleveland. They will find somebody to put in front of Shador. And if he black, they're gonna hold him back and pit him against Shador. And if he white, they're gonna pit him against Shador and try to humiliate Shador again. So he don't believe he's a QB1, and we don't either, but they crazy as hell. And the wider the lens gets, that black that fans of all racial demographics see what's happening to black quarterbacks. Let's see what the excuse is, because there will be one, because they think they got everything figured out. And I can tell you about people that think they got everything figured out. They don't work like that. They get humiliated publicly. until the point where they can't even function because shame sets in because they work so hard to put this disguise on that they're friendly when in fact they're pariah and they don't like being exposed. That's why half of them had attitude. To people that say that the organization is dysfunctional. Yeah, it's dysfunctional and it's corrupt. I say Rico. Rigging and fixing games? Dude, that takes away the integrity of the sport itself. And if you're doing it and you condoning it, who else is doing it? Like I said, this is a powder keg situation waiting to blow. And they already moving on to the next class. And with a lot of guys that are black staying in school, it's going to be interesting to see. Pay attention to what happens to Trinidad Shamblers. And I'll tell you more. Pay attention. Those are the only two names that's being talked about right now. And Dante and Trinidad trying to go back to school. But it seemed like they trying to hinder him. Let's see what happens with Dante Moore. Stay tuned. That's why these black guys need to stay the hell away from Oregon. It said, I don't see Kevin get another head coaching job. I bet they already found him one. Unless they're lying. Unless they're lying. They let Kevin go with dignity. Absolutely. The conversation that Stefanski had with Shedeur was, your God is God. What the hell does that even mean? It said both of them need to move on. They haven't won anything significantly. I agree. And to me, Andrew Berry being over there and being quiet while Shedeur is being dehumanized is inexcusable. And they just don't want to fire him because then it'll be 3 black GMs fired because that's all that's been fired is black GMs. I'm like, what? You ain't fired no white GMs, so they ain't do nothing wrong? What's going on in New York? They GM should have damn sure been fired. That old miss prank caller and the phone number and the proprietary information, how the hell he still got a job? And you talking about sending Stefanski there? So they just a big cesspool, huh? A big cesspool of racism over there. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. You can see right here who been fired. You think it's a coincidence that only black GMs been fired? They only have 9. Now they got 7. Andrew Berry's job is earmarked for extinction. In extinction. Unless he's willing to stand by and oversee Shedeur Sanders be humiliated and devalued again. And he already talking the talk. They non-committal through Andrew Berry. Talking about Shedeur has improved greatly with his pocket presence. Andrew Berry is trying to turn Shedeur into a check down king. Trying to inhibit his skill set. Trying to devalue him and inhibit him and not commit to him at the same time. I would hate to be married to his ass because he's somewhat cheating. And he's saying things like, well, yeah, we have to kind of look at everything. All right, well, then look at it. Trade Shedeur while you're looking. He the overseer now. And Shedeur would be a fool to trust that man. I'm sorry. You can't do it, bro. I don't care if he come to you and tell you. All Shedeur did was vindicate the lie. The lie was that Andrew Berry drafted Shedeur. That is utter bullshit. So, of course, Andrew Berry felt the need to go pat Shedeur on the back. But Andrew Berry stood by while Stefanski abused Shedeur. So he is no better. He is no better. They still on that slick stuff. Yep. It said they building a new stadium. Haslam is planning something big. The Manning kid. He want to ride into the new stadium with the Manning kid. Hey, Kevin, God works in mysterious ways. That's facts. Remember, Kevin Stefanski said that to Shedeur on the call to the draft, talking about the Lord works in mysterious ways. He sure the hell do, because they didn't want to fire you. But you had to go. You had to go. And they're going to find you something else to do. And I can't wait to see that blow up, unless they lied to you, because they know you're a legal liability. And I don't know what corporation wants to take on a known legal liability that's racist against the majority population of the talent. Who does that? Somebody that want to be exposed. So who's next? Because the Browns have been exposed. So much so, Haslam got an attitude because they say the organization is dysfunctional. I'm like, it's corrupt. The corruption is the umbrella. The dysfunction is underneath that. It's dysfunctional because it's corrupt. Exactly. And it says, it's public record that the NFL was found guilty of colluding on Lamar, Kyler Murray, and Russell Wilson. That's why I think the guy who stepped down after the verdict knew where the bodies are buried. That is because if you're talking about the guy on the NFL Players Association, If that's who you're talking about, he was colluding with the owners. Yeah, he kept the verdict secret. The verdict came out before the New Orleans Super Bowl. They hid it until June so it wouldn't disrupt the Super Bowl. That's why the players have zero recourse. Zero. I definitely think Kevin Stefanski himself is evil. Don't believe in the same God as Shedeur. Right. That's why if he said your God is God, then that's what he's trying to tell him. They don't believe in the same thing. 20 million followers and counting minus 32 equals. That's actually good. 20 million minus 32. I know that's right. They better start respecting the fans, and the fans want respect for these black quarterbacks. Because I don't care. I'm all the cozying up to people you could do. We ain't with the racism. You silence, maybe you silenced Colin Kaepernick. I mean, you blackballed him because he still told his story and went on to do great things. But you're not gonna silence the fans. 130 million fans watch Kendrick Lamar. You want to take that fight on? Who they watch? You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke. That shows you ain't crazy. You don't want that smoke. That's why they don't want to fire Andrew Berry right now. And I'm sure some people are running around saying, oh, well, they can't fire him because they fired the other two black guys. So it wouldn't look good. So just wait. He gone too. Watch they start talking up, coming the Manning person. And watch who they suggested. Peyton Manning. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. That's exactly what you're going to hear. So Shador is not comfortable. And so Barry knows he's going to be fired. They finna taunt the hell out of him. It said NFL, not the only league. The WNBA only has one, maybe two black coaches. It said one, maybe a black woman, yet a black woman make up the majority of the league. Right. And what did they do in Chicago when I stopped watching? First of all, they used the coach they had on Angel Reese rookie year against Angel Reese. And what was the young lady, Kaiser Gondrzik, that got fired? And they have a black woman in the office, the front office in Chicago. I think as part owner or something like that, right? I think now they have, what's his name? Dwayne Wade too. So what did they do? They fired Teresa Witherspoon because I don't know why the hell she let Kaiser Gondrzik go, and she traded Mabry. That was crazy. She depleted her own team, and they didn't want Angel to win. They wanted Caitlin Clark to get the shine, so they depleted the Chicago team. And she thought, the coach thought by playing sister and auntie to the girls that they wouldn't see it. Then they come back the next year. The front office hires a black man. And I asked y'all, why are they like 0-6 or 2-6? And y'all were like, because the new coach don't know what he's doing. So they fired a black female. So they went and hired a black male. I don't even know how that went. I stopped watching. Angel Reese didn't even want to join Unrivaled. She went and enjoy her off season. Good for her. Good for her. They didn't want Angel Reese to get all the endorsements she had, to get all the shine. They did to Angel Reese what they did to Shador. And I told y'all, I said the NFL taking a page out of the WNBA playbook by trying to prop up Caitlin Clark and downplay Angel Reese. Who is Caitlin Clark? You know who Angel Reese is, Shador. Who is Caitlin Clark? He at the University of Texas. That's who Caitlin Clark is. He ain't even came yet. They willing to lose 3 goddamn years in a row and was willing to lose 3 more. Willing to lose 3 more years after this year. It's documented. Has them said that. We might have made progress, but we're not going to panic, and we might go another 3 years. All because Caitlin Clark is still at UT. I don't give a shit about Deshaun. I don't give a damn about Shador. I don't give a shit about Dante Moore. Or Trinidad Shambles. Whoever the hell it is, that's black. We don't care. We just waiting on a Manny kid, but I will get Mac Jones as a veteran. I sure will, and I'll make him and a Manny kid. I'll pair them up, and then I'll ship Shador on somewhere else and try to devalue him first so he doesn't leave as a 1. Like Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett was the 15th black starting quarterback in 2024. Cam was the 16th. Shador was the 17th. Milroe was the 18th. You know what happened to Milroe. You know what happened to Shador. You know Cam got sacked excessively 55 times. And because he has the ability to be Superman, and they want him to be Clark Kent. He got injured and taken out of a game, and they let Jacksonville move ahead instead of for Cam to be true competition for Trevor Lawrence. That's why his injury was so serious, and then it's not, because the game's over. And they know he has the ability to be Superman. And they want him to be Clark Kent, but he refuses. So we took you out the game. If you go look at the 2 games that they only had single-digit points, and it was a run, it was a wide disparity in the score. It happened twice. Guess who the team it is that happened twice to? Jacksonville. So they knew exactly what they were going to do to Cam, because they had already done it earlier the year, just to let Jacksonville go without Travis Hunter. So what you think they're going to say about that? Wait for that conversation. They already gave, I think, a wide receiver one hell of an extension. I wonder if an insurance company paying Travis Hunter's salary. Michael Penix Jr. salary. Lamar Jackson salary. If they keep him down, because he keep coming back. Deshaun Watson salary is documented. The answer is yes. It ain't just black quarterbacks, but for the most part, that's where you see the malfeasance. Absolutely. Instead, Nola girl, you did a fabulous job covering this story and the racist drama behind it. Thank you so much. Servant leadership is for those in government public service, not the NFL or the hood gang, the KKK. That's who servant leadership is for. There are no black female head coaches in the WNBA. See, I'm glad I stopped watching. It said this past season, there was one, Noelle and Seattle, but she is gone. It said complexion for the protection. Facts. There's a difference between history and his story. Right. I totally agree. The NFL want to go back to the 1800s, but it's not going to happen. Stay moving forward, people. Right. It's not going to happen because why? Fans have a voice. We can see what's happening in 1800 and 1900. We couldn't see what the hell was going on without the newspaper. And most of us wasn't around. So the people that are around now, and these tickets, I don't know how much their tickets cost way back then, but I know they got tickets for $600. They got tickets for $6,000 to the Super Bowl. Who you think want to watch the Super Bowl where you suppressing the black quarterback so the white one can win? Who do you think wants to buy season tickets because you want to suppress and make sure in the AFC and NFC championship, there's not another season where there's 3 or 4 black quarterbacks going to these championships? Because when Mark Andrews dropped the ball, he stopped Lamar Jackson from being the 4th. Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and Lamar Jackson. This was going to be the first time the AFC and NFC championship had 4 black quarterbacks. And it's decidedly the opposite this year. And there was a lot of rigging and fixing to get here. Pay attention to who these playoff games, who they going to cheat, right, Sean? Who they want to get through, Trevor Lawrence. Pay attention. Pay attention. I'm watching the Texans. When the Texans play the Steelers, I will be watching. I want to see if they're going to cheat CJ Stroud because that's exactly what I think. Why they want Aaron Rodgers to win? Because he's 42. They want to bring him back if he want to come back. They want to go get another Joe Flacco, another Phillip Rivers, because I need to suppress these black quarterbacks. So I can't just do it with the draft. So I could go get the 2% battery lifers. Because look at Aaron Rodgers. That's the plan. Suppress them coming out the draft, the value them coming out the draft, and move them out for these 2% battery lifers. Wasn't Flacco in the Browns 2023? Why wasn't he there in 2024? But they brought him back in 2025. They pivoted from Shedeur, went, got Dillon and Flacco at the same time. They traded Flacco away for a 6th-round pick like he was trash. It don't pay to go along with their racism. It don't pay. It does not pay. I don't care what color you are. It said AB gone. Going to be replaced by Peyton Manning. That's it. And Shedeur by Arch. Yep, it's going to be the Mannings and the Browns. Yep. So then you can take, that's another organization The Mannings, the Saints, and the Giants that they have that influence in. That's it. And I told y'all they keep popping up, and that's not a coincidence. I told y'all Rizzo was being a company man when he was talking about Shedeur need to get the hell out of Cleveland before after Stefanski was rigging the game, knowing damn well it's because they was getting a Manning kid and they are not committed to him. That's why Andrew Berry was non-committal today. I hope Shedeur know what the hell going on. And maybe he does. It's enough people around him. They better not be sitting up here talking that bullshit on the internet, talking about, oh, next year is better. No, the hell it ain't. You better keep your head on straight out here. They gonna do you like they doing everybody else. Lamar is the one you need to talk to. That's why I hated those two didn't have a photo op after the game. Those were the two to have the photo op. If you knew, they knew they was going to push Shedeur in that game. But they didn't want to announce that Shedeur was going to play Lamar. They didn't want that. Because they don't want either one of them to be celebrated because both can elevate the game with their different quarterback style. They're not even the same style of quarterback. And they suppressing the both of them. That's how good they are. And it disproves that race norm and bullshit they've been running for 120 years. I told y'all, if they get away with it with Shedeur in the draft, what they did to Shedeur in the draft, they're going to do it to somebody else. That's why these guys going back to school. They're like, they're like, nope. And that's what it should be. That's what it's supposed to be. And when you come out of high school and you go to college, I'm gonna need you to think that college is your ceiling. And watch, they already starting to suppress black quarterbacks over there. Pat Schumer wanting to push up Ryan Staub. I'm like, God darn. Keelan Russell, a 5-star benched. When the hell do a 5-star get benched? Because he threw one interception in practice. Did you see Jerry Jeudy in practice? And he got to play. When he's black, that's what happens. It's an excuse to devalue you. Let's see what happened, who the quarterback at Alabama next year. Pay attention, because I will be. I follow the quarterbacks, and this is why. This is why. It's a dirty little secret, and it's being exposed. It says 68 Jeudy and offensive line needs to be replaced. Has these barriers to help with fixing, finding a head coach. Most likely will be next. They're talking about some kind of committee. They're talking about they put together some committee. You don't need a committee to find, you don't need a committee to find a goddamn head coach. Andrew Berry said there's a lot of head coaches out there. So what you need a committee for? Why Andrew Berry can't hire the head coach? Why you need a committee? The same reason Terry Fontenot got fired. So a black person doesn't make the decision on who the next head coach is. That's why. And Andrew Berry's supposed to be running things. That's bullshit. Just as much bullshit as Andrew Berry gave Lamar Jackson $230 million. Bullshit. If you're going to be in this league, you better know what it is. And you better know what they're going to try to do to you. And you might want to figure out something else to do. Just saying. You got all the power. Use it. It's that deep. Yep, it's that deep. It's that how they make money. It's that how will they make money on old strings? They using an old playbook. They still making money. You know how they making money now? They making money off of TV. They don't even care about the product on the field. That's why Haslam was defending. We have a good product. We have a good product. You do, but you don't care about it because you allowed Stefanski to rate it and destroy it. As long as people watch the games on TV, they make money. Now, what did they say about these Christmas games? People weren't watching. That's pressure. Okay, y'all gonna have to do something different because people not watching the games no more. Maybe stop discriminating against black quarterbacks. Stop trying to turn quarterbacks down into check down kings to suppress the black quarterback and his athleticism. You appreciated Michael Vick's athleticism till you didn't. Till he became bigger than the league, like Shedeur. You robbed Shedor's house. What you looking for? What you looking for? What you looking for? Something to discount him like you did Michael Vick? Something to discount him like you're trying to do Lamar? Talking about Lamar falls asleep in practice, Shedeur sits in the back of the class. They calling black quarterbacks lazy. That is a disgusting stereotype against black people, period. Brian Flores lawsuits get every day. The NFL is rife for racism. You're damn right it is. And I'm so thankful he mentioned the black quarterback, not just the head coach. He mentioned the quarterback gets discriminated against, the black quarterback. That's facts. And they don't even care about that. Black folks make the NFL, right? They don't want to admit that either. They see that point right there? See that point right there? Ooh, they don't want to admit that, bro. That's why they keep gravitating towards us. I'm like, why would they give 50 Cent a gallery and a lounge in a Washington Stadium? And I knew that Magic Johnson was over there. That's who should be the next owner of the Cleveland Browns, Magic Johnson. I don't know what was happening. I looked at 50 Cent Instagram. He got 34 million followers. I said, that's why. That's why they had Method Man out there, because he was on power. They had Simone Biles out there because she generates a lot of engagement because her husband plays for Chicago. Hell, I watch her. She generates a lot of engagements. That's why you keep seeing the wags, because they getting a lot of looks because they drive an engagement. But Simone Biles is a titan in the world of athletics. So that's why they got hurt. Then they got Ken Griffey Jr. That's why they got hurt. I mean, that's why they got him. They need to get Myles Garrett, father, because he got the same kind of camera that them other people be using. Does he drive engagement? If you black, they gonna come and get you if you drive an engagement. They ain't gonna come get me. And I probably ain't gonna blow up until I ain't saying shit like this no more, until we pass this scenario, because it's so what happens, other people gonna come and take it and distribute it. Thank you. I'm being protected as well. So, that's what it is, guys. Go ahead and pop your champagne. The Wicked Witch of the East and the Cleveland Browns is gone. But understand this. They looking for a 2.0 or somebody to patronize for 1 year until the Manning kid come, if they have to start pretending, because Stefanski made himself a legal liability. They know exactly how far with racism they can go and how far they can't. They have been surprised by all of the pressure coming at Cleveland. I predict it's going to start spreading to other teams, fan bases. As soon as fans realize that what's happening to Lamar, and they started to wake up after last night. Now watch what happened when you get to the playoffs. They already talked about how the Panthers were being cheated. I already know they're going to cheat the Panthers. I know if Lamar would have won last night, they were going to cheat him on the next stop. They're going to try to cheat C.J. Stroud. They want it to be 2 white quarterbacks in the NFL, but they don't know what to do with Jalen Hurts. They thought they had written off Caleb Williams. They don't give him none of the credit. They give his coach the credit. Caleb Williams got sacked 72 times. That didn't have to happen. Justin Fields was sacked 125 times in his young career. That never had to happen. They tried to destroy him. He was a dual sport athlete. Go play baseball. Baseball gravitates towards black people and not for engagement, because they have felt the drought and they're like, oh shit, we need some people. Come on over here. See, that's what needs to happen to the NFL. People need to tune out and move on to something else. And that's probably what's going to happen. It's just going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. But once that virus starts to spread, it's going to spread like a wildfire. It said, we see what's going on. That's what I'm saying. It said, thank you for not playing that music. I have told you, Demeter, multiple times. My fans like the music and I welcome you, but I will continue to play that music. You are more than welcome to play. I made that beat and I'm going to keep playing them respectfully. So you got to stop hating, bro. You got to stop hating. It said Jerry Jeudy is going to be the happiest player on the Browns after Stefanski leaves, because he has been used to create havoc. It said, to Jerry Jeudy, welcome home, OJ. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is insane. That is insane. That is insane. The music will be back. I'm just ain't worried about it right now. I'm just not worried about it right now. It said things that make you go home. That's right, Ramon. It said, I just heard Ward and Delpit interviews. Basically, they said they need a hard-nosed leader that holds players alone and coaches accountable. It said not a cupcake softy, something Kevin was not. Kevin was not holding Jerry Jeudy accountable intentionally. He was Tommy Reese. Tommy Reese said after Jerry Jeudy's poor performance, as if no consequences ever would take place, which is why I know they didn't want to fire Stefanski. I love Jerry Jeudy. We will feature him more. And look at how he act like a jackal in practice. I shared it yesterday. Go check out the video from yesterday. I shared that he did the same thing in practice. All he was showing was what he was going to do in the game. Low effort and not try to catch the ball. So Tommy Reese, if he's still there, it's still going to be Stefanski 2.0. The ghost of Stefanski will be right there. And they're going to make sure of it. It said, just like folks voted for, same thing. It said, the media is on the hunt to devalue Shedeur. Acho stating Tyler, Shaw, and Burrow's stats are much better. And you know why? Because Acho changed his vote so Lamar can lose the third MVP. Acho changed his vote. So Josh Allen could win and Lamar could lose. You talk about a snake right there. A lot of people don't know that, but that's fact. You can go look that up. Kevin Pete Carroll, Arizona, Coach Morris, so far unemployed. Oh, Kevin Stefanski, Pete Carroll. They fired Arizona's coach. Now, let me ask y'all a question about Arizona. Who was the coach that was berating the black player in Arizona? Was that the head coach or was that like a position coach? Let me know, because people talked about he should have been fired. And I want that who was fired today. NCAA playing with a lawsuit again. Facts. Jalen Hurts received his master's degree before the season. So did Jalen Milroe. I think Milroe graduated and got his master's, I think, from Alabama. A lot of the Alabama players seem to be getting their degrees. Jeudy has never been a wide receiver one. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy was brought in for the same reason Stefanski was brought in. Jerry Jeudy failed in Denver. Nobody wanted Stefanski, but they became useful. And he probably going to be there next year. A trusted therapist, not someone who will repeat everything. Right. We were talking about Shador needs to understand that the danger is where things get started. Because if you don't feel like your mom can't, when your mom says you did a good job and you think that, oh, she just saying that because my mom and I don't want to talk to my dad because he overly coaching me, you're pushing these people away. And if you can say out your own mouth that you need that type of support, but you're getting it from your parents, but it's not enough, you're going to find it in the wrong place. You have to go to therapy. You have to assess what truly happened. And you have to make sure you don't internalize it. And you don't go pouring into somebody that does not have your best interest at heart. That's the danger. That is the danger that he's facing, whether he knows it or not. You don't believe me? Go watch the last video that Bucky just did when he went outside and talked to his mom. Pain don't always build character. Right, it destroys. When people say that, that's just a way to accept and tolerate abuse. And one of the things I noticed, like when Cam Ward, they were scared of him. Just like they were scared of Myles Garrett at first. Why were they scared of Cam? Because he was not afraid to speak his mind. What did I say they thought about Shador? That they could run over him. Why? Because he never barked back like Cam. They both being devalued. They both being mistreated. Cam got sacked excessively and got injured. But he still let it be known that I'm not okay with this. I felt like Shedeur did up where he was supposed to because he was not sacked 55 times. He was not told, you have the ability to be Superman, but we want you to be Clark Kent. But they still forced him to that position. They still abused him. But I don't think they ever heard him bark back. And bullies you have to let a bully know they can't play with you. And when you do get hurt like Cam, because they like, oh, we gonna show you. That's not for you to fight back. That's for you to realize where you are and maybe choose yourself instead. Lamar Jackson gonna have to choose himself going forward. Baltimore has made it clear. We don't want to win with you. Cleveland made it clear they don't want to win with Shedeur. I don't know if Cam Ward got the message from Tennessee because it might be a mixed message. They don't want to win with him either. But one thing about it, the league know the public is watching. Certain teams know the public is watching and holding them accountable. So let's see what happens. But Shedeur, he gonna have to find a way to truly survive being abused and not be on an episode of surviving the Cleveland Browns, because that's what it is. Don't push the people away because he heard it. You can't say he not. He didn't even look right yesterday. You gotta deal with that. You gotta deal with that before you become somebody you don't recognize. And that was their goal all along. Dr. Bryant, yeah, and if Dr. Bryant is his therapist, yeah. I think she just wrote a book too. I don't know. Maybe he could read that. I sent him a book. Shador, if you got a book that says how to deal with the difficult people in your life, and it talks about a boss, please go read it. It should be there by now. I sent it to the post office box. So hopefully he get a lot of love in the post office box. Good old boys run these systems and corporations. Facts. But everybody can't get away with what we see happening in Cleveland and Baltimore. Change it by spending money on ourselves and causes in our communities. Yep. Jalen Hurts had a private conversation with Shedeur, and they were dying to know what was being said. I was like, gosh, can y'all not respect two black men having a conversation? No, they can't, because they don't respect them as men. They stop at the black part, and that's where all the negativity happens after that. They don't respect them as men. The way that Arizona coach berated that black player, the way that Sean Payton berated Russell Wilson, the way that Kevin Stefanski dehumanized Shedeur, the way that Baltimore consistently fails. Something happened this week. I'm not sure what it was, but something was bothering Shedeur. Right. It took a toll on him. It said, don't fall into that trap. I totally agree. You got to be careful out here. It said, definitely not Dr. Bryant. I think she's employed by the Browns. Okay, well, somebody else. Okay. Oh, and Judy, with his, you don't really understand what's going on. Yeah, bye, Felicia. Shut up. Like, and nobody gonna want him. So I don't know what they gonna do with him. See, all of the same virus is in place. Judy still works there. Tommy Reese still works there. Schwartz is still there. He was hired by Stefanski. He suppressed the defense. He suppressed Myles Garrett. He benched Denzel Ward unjustly. So it's still the same problem. And I can't imagine having to stare going back to Cleveland with a 2.0 Stefanski and all of the same characters, Joel Bitonio, Jack Conklin, Cam Robinson, KT Leviston in place. It means this is just posturing. Kevin, we got to get rid of you, but we're going to find you another job because, we got to tend an eye on this pressure. We can't have the fans. That's all that was. He should have been fired. Thank you, sis. Love your passion and strength and exposing the systems. Yes, thank you. You're welcome. It said, yeah, you can't talk about a clout chaser. It said, yep, you can't talk about a clout chaser. It said, Dr. Bryant is great friends with Coach Prime. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I don't care who it is. It just needs to be somebody that he can trust. And if that's who God put on his path, then, that's what it is, guys. I saw her talking to Quishon Junkin, so it was all the rookies. Well, the black ones. I don't know about the white ones. I think they said it was because I don't know why they did that, really, because it was weird that you would be abusing Shedeur and bring in a black therapist. I don't know. But you still abusing Shedeur after she leaves, so I don't know. She was on the sideline one time, so that might be his saving grace. Having too much influence, aloha power, consciousness, and self-awareness, programmable is what they need. It said too many black QBs are winning Super Bowls in the most prized position. Then it's coaching and most scary thing, black ownership. Yeah, that has never happened. It said Dr. Bryant is great friends with anyone. Amber thinks that she's chasing clout. I know she had some books that made it to the New York Times bestseller list. So maybe that's what she was chasing. Maybe she was marketing her books. I don't know. Strategic understanding that representation matters. Okay, there we go. I like that. It said that press conference by Barry felt like sitting as a hostage on a Zoom call at 4:59. Totally agree. Yeah, he refused to commit to Shedeur, so you can't trust him either. Because he already devalued Shedeur. Doesn't very one like to be aligned with success, black success? She's a smart, she is smart who knows her value. I gotta say, I'm pretty sure she was on a marketing tour. I'm pretty sure she was on a marketing tour. Will we see how much the retaliation proclamation? Okay, I guess we're gonna see that. If we support one another, we keep our emotions in check, we have more leverage and ownership. It's not even about that. It ain't about us. Shit to do with that. If they start a league, we just gotta support it because they gonna face some opposition. But it's not about that. They have to believe in themselves first. As somebody that wanted to actually start a league, I can't fight people to believe in themselves. I can't do that. And you want to constantly run back to them. That's Ocho. That's exactly Emmanuel Ocho, not Ocho. That's Emmanuel Ocho's problem. Emmanuel Ocho is pining and doing everything performative to get back rather than appreciate the entrepreneurship. He don't appreciate it. He don't appreciate it. And I'm not about to sit up here and beat myself senseless in the head trying to convince you why you should be playing football where you can get equity and not for them. Hey, I'm tenacious, but I understand there's a point that you got to realize, oh, they want to chase that. If that's what you want to chase, then that's what you're going to get. And that's what you're going to get. We rolling with Shador because he came into this and he didn't know all this because we didn't. But you see, we spread the message and all these kids going back to school. And that's why they playing with Trinidad Shamblers because he want to have a choice for himself. And that's why Dante Moore ain't said nothing yet. And he better look for the okie doke in that game against Indiana. Because they want Mendoza to be first. And I say, cool, send him to Vegas, number one, because Ashton Jeanty going to have a good season. That's exactly what's going to happen. Echo says she works for NFL teams. Cam Waters a black QB and not a comic book character. You talk about Superman. There you go. Hopefully the Browns hire black. That ain't helped them. They had a black head coach before. The Browns had a black head coach and Hugh Jackson. And Deshaun Kaiser came along and went 0-15, 16, 0-16. And the black head coach reported he was incentivized to lose. So that's not the answer. Just putting a black person there for blackface. That's why they got Andrew Berry. So they ain't gonna do that. And then again, they might. The pressure's out there. They might, but will it help? Are they gonna let them coach? Look at exactly what's happening in Atlanta. The black GM and the black head coach got fired. And the head coach got fired because he got tricked into playing Kirk Cousins, the owner's pick, in his first year. I don't think they're talking about Jamal Bryant. I think they're talking about the other lady. I don't know her name. They're not talking about Dr. Jamal Bryant. That's not who they're talking about. That's not who they're talking about. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Absolutely. We are not talking about Jamal. Yeah, we're not talking about Jamal Bryant. That's hilarious. That somebody said they thought when they said Dr. Bryant, they were talking about Jamal Bryant. No, that's not our lane. We ain't over there. Now we talking about, I don't know her name. Cheyenne, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. She was like a consultant, like a therapist to some of the rookies with the Browns camp. At the Browns, I saw Shedeur. I saw Quinshon Judkins. I didn't see the white rookies, so I don't know how that went. I just saw the black rookies, and I don't know how that worked. So we were talking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I said she has a book out on the bestsellers list. Let me see what it's called. And she was on tour. She was on tour on her book tour, just like anybody else with a book tour, right? Let's see. What is her book called? All right. Her book is called. I don't know what her book is called. Let's see. Does she got a book? I don't know. She got a talk show. Did y'all know she had a talk show? It's called Truth Talk Truth Talks Live. Truth Talks Live. Okay, yeah, she got a book. I don't know what it's called though. She was a producer of Teen Mom. She had a talk show host. Truth Talks Live. She's a psychology expert and life coach. She has representation, and you can pre-order her book, Mental Detox. That's what it's called. Mental Detox. So she had a book. Here's what I think the problem is, and we're gonna go because this don't have nothing to do with football. I think the problem is that people are not used to and don't care to see lawyers, psychologists, especially black ones, the female version. They don't like to see them on social media with their professionalism, their professional takes mixed in with twerking, so to speak, or TikTok dances, or having their boobs out. They don't like that. People just don't like that. And I've observed it happening. And the best lawyers that succeed on the internet are ones that are professional on the internet. But they also try to figure out how to live their lives and be who they are outside off the clock. That don't work. You gotta decide if you want to be a lawyer and give people legal advice and get clients. You can't do it with your tatas out. You just can't do it because you're gonna get the wrong clients, right? So that's, I think, some of the problem that people have with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. She gives good advice. I think her conversation with Cam, I thought, was pretty good. It's the way sometimes she carries herself in trying to engage people on social media as a professional. That's where the problem is. You have to separate the two. You can't be scantily clad and want people to accept you as a professional. It don't work. It just don't work. It doesn't work. I don't know anybody that it works for. Name one person out here who can act like they on OnlyFans and give out medical advice. It don't work. And that's what our Black female professionals have to get around and understand. People will value you for your professionalism, but they will quickly devalue you if you show your body or you act like you off the clock on your social media platform. They don't like it. They don't value you. And it might not be fair, but that's what it is. Take it or leave it. All right, I'm gone. I'll be back tonight at 10:35. This was 3 hours long because Stefanski got fired, and we talked about the realities of that. So I'll be back tonight at 10:35, guys. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports, and I'll update y'all later on when I find out whatever else is happening, because it's a lot happening. It really is a lot happening. So I'll see y'all later. Bridget said what I said. Stefanski wasn't a good person. He wasn't. He's not. And for people that say he is, y'all lying. Good people don't abuse and dehumanize others. Period. End the story. No excuses. All right, I'm going to see y'all later. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Have a good one.